see art in jail. That's the main place them boys should be given materials to work. Because you need art when you're locked behind a door, not when you're sitting in a classroom with a load of people and having a bit of crack.
Do you have to have a talent originally, though?
No, I think everything. I'd see anybody I ask about art, the first thing everybody says is, I couldn't draw a stick man. But art's not about drawing a stick man. You look at boys these days, abstract artists. It looks like my wee lads do a lot of painting onto a canvas, but they can talk about that story. But everybody has their own unique way of expressing themselves. Mark making or whatever way you paint, that's your unique skill, that's your unique talent. You can never judge anybody or put them down by what art they create. Because at the end of the day, that's their own expression. If you put somebody down for their art, you're criticising that person personally.
Stephen, thank you so much for joining me today. I am delighted to have you here. Could you introduce yourself, please, to the listeners?
Yes, no problem. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be on your podcast. Much appreciated. My name's Stephen Greer. I'm from Bangor in County Down, Northern Ireland, and I was an ex-prisoner. I took up art in prison 2013 and having staff, and now I'm work for the Renal Arts Group. I'm co-chair of the Renal Arts Group and work for Prison Arts. And I now go back into the prison, which I learned to draw, or learned art, to teach art. So I've had quite a roller coaster of a journey.
You've had quite a colourful life, which we'll get into. But I have to say, I did look on your website at your art, and my goodness, you are so talented.
Thank you very much.
And did you only discover that talent when you were in prison in your older years, or did you always have that?
I took up art. I done a lot of art in school when I was a kid. I always used to grow up, drew all over my walls in my bedroom and stuff like that. And then going through school, football and art was my only interest. Any other school subject I just didn't care, didn't bother me, just no interest, didn't like it, so didn't even try to be honest. Plus later on in life I found out that I was highly dyslexic as well, so I grew up being called stupid, being slow, just as if you're daft. So I put into like a slow learners class, and see, because you were being treated like that, you just had no interest and you didn't really try. So the only enjoyment I had was art. But I got the P7, done my GCSE, was meant to do my GCSE art, and I had my own idea what I wanted to do based on the troubles in Northern Ireland. When I was growing up at that age, the troubles, you couldn't get away from it. It was everywhere you looked. Any time you went on TV, it was everywhere. So I was going to do Loyalist and Republican murals, and then do like a finished piece was going to be a piece mural. And I said to my teacher I wanted to do that, and she was like, no, you have to do the curriculum. You have to do basically what we tell you to do. And that's not what art's about. So I was just like, well, if you're not letting me do what I want, tough. I'm not doing anything. And just fell out with my art teacher and gave up my art. So it didn't even get it. I think I got a D in my GCSE because of my coursework. And then after that, got out of school. I left school, and I wanted to take a year out and do nothing because I was happy that it's just fed up with school. So
what age were you, 16?
15, 16, I can't even remember. And around that anyway. And then got in trouble. That was the first time getting in trouble with the police. I was at a bonfire hut up in Churchill. It's like a estate close to where I live. And I bought what I thought was a pellet gun at the time. And I was actually sitting pinging people's windows with his pellet gun for thinking it was a bit of crack. And then some woman come up and says there's 5 holes through my living room window. We'll have been hit in the head. And she phoned the police. So I pulled it and went home to the house and threw the gun in the heads out and went into the house, and actually seen the police car driving past. So I ran up the stairs to get to see where they were going. By the time I got to the stairs, there was a knock on the door. And I come down. The only person I had scared of was my dad. Didn't care about the police, like, you know. And then my dad went back into the living room, and I said to the policeman, I was like, if I give you the gun, was that everything sweet? And he was like, where is it? So I handed him it, and he was like, where did you get that?
Was it a real gun?
It was I think it was a 2 air pistol or something. I can't even remember, but it was it was stronger than a pellet gun.
Okay.
It was shot like air pellets, the wee metal, mushrooms. But it ended up, we paid the damage of the window, gave them a few quid, and they were happy with that. So it ended up but because I got in trouble, my dad was like, you need to get a job. So I enrolled in a BTEC, an MVQ level 2 in retail, which I'd done. And then halfway, I done pest control as a work experience, still coming up the work experience. I actually wanted to be an undertaker, but then I found out you need a load of GCSEs, and I was like, nah, it's not for me. It was funny, my careers teacher went around the class first of all, and he's asking everybody, what do you want to do? And I want to be a pilot, want to be a policeman, mechanic, blah. Came to me, and I was like, I want to be a bank robber. And he cracked it, he was like, what? And I was like, you only have to work a couple of hours and you get a load of money. And he was raging. So, and then I chose Undertaker. And then because of qualifications, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was walking home one day and there's a fella doing a wasp nest. And my next door neighbour was doing a wasp nest with a smoke generator.
Doing a wasp nest?
Killing a wasp nest.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, that looks handy, I could do that. And so I said to him, about doing the work experience in, but he had just joined a new company called Growth Pest Control and he's only there 2 weeks, so he didn't feel comfortable asking. But it turned out my careers officer knew the director of the company. So I ended up doing the work experience with John McKinnon, who lives beside me. And that's where I started pest control. But John became the manager of Growth Pest Control. And then he knocked my door one night and says, "Do you want a job?" And I was like, doing what? He's like, pest control. And I was like, I know, sir. So I actually ended up becoming the youngest pest controller in Northern Ireland, because usually you need a driving licence to be able to drive to do it.
Okay.
So, but what I done was I used to go with boys in a van. If I was doing like Harlem Wolf, Mackey's, Steelworks, all these places which don't exist anymore, they used to take me and drop me off and just let me work away and then pick me up at night and then
And what kind of pests were they?
Everything. In them days, everything. No, there was like cats, rabbits, foxes, pigeons, cockroaches, fleas, bed bugs, all sorts of things. And
rats and mice and things?
I never a problem. I hate spiders, and spiders drive me mad, but rats and mice no bother at all.
I didn't think cats were a pest.
Feral cats, yeah, dangerous. And see, they smell them too, and they're stinking. No, if it's feral, you wouldn't do like people's domestic cats. It would be feral cats, like wild cats, and they're wild.
They're dangerous.
You had to wear these big gloves. You caught them in cages and you had to wear these big gloves, and see, they ripped the gloves to shreds even though they were in the cage. Like, they were really, really vicious. Like.
Okay.
And then done that. And then it's actually funny because we worked for the MOD. So it did. So
what's the MOD?
The military, the army.
Oh, okay.
So it used to be really, really dangerous because I was going into like army camps in the middle of West Belfast.
Okay.
And then I was working in West Belfast doing pest control in the same farm, but the only thing was it changed the plates. So we used to get
because you're from West Belfast is mainly Catholic, but you're Protestant side.
No, not even that. If you're working for the security forces, you're a target. So we used to work in South Armagh as well, Cross McLean, Silverbridge, all around there. We used to have to go into Fort Kill or Bestbrook, and they would have flew us by helicopter into Cross McLean because you couldn't drive in, because they would have had in Cross McLean they were able to have a firing squad ready within 15 minutes. So if they seen a target within 15 minutes, they had somebody ready to shoot you. Okay. So that's how active they were in South Armagh. So you used to have to fly in. They wouldn't let you drive in because you would end up dead.
For pest control? Mm-hmm. My goodness.
But they used to fly us in to shoot cats. We were like, you're asking us, you have more guns than us. But they used to fly us into the looking posts and all, and we had to shoot the cats with a shotgun. But you used to have to shoot rabbits as well, or do foxing. You know, like, you used to go in and get the ferrets and put the ferrets down and shoot them. And then after that, you would go in with the gas, phosphine gas, which is highly, highly dangerous. And you used to have to block all the holes, bolt holes. And then you put the gas into the burrows and then blocked it up too. But it was lethal. No, you used to have to be really careful. So you did.
Okay.
There's actually an incident in England. There was a fellow working for Rentokil, and his mate was doing a rabbit job the next day, and he posted it for his toxin tablets through his letterbox. But it was a metal container with a plastic lid, and your man had a tiled floor, and it broke and killed 2 families. So it is. So, you need to be careful of it. Like.
Jesus. Okay. Well, moving swiftly onwards. Okay, so after that, how did you? What was your life pattern then after the Rentokil? Or the pest control? How did you then?
Growing up, my generation was when the drugs come in big time. Like, so it was. I hated drinking. Didn't like drink because it used to make me wild sick. And seeing my brother coming home blocking, although he's older than me, and he used to put me off. I used to go flip me, I'm not doing that. I never liked the taste of alcohol anyway, so I would only drink I fairly rarely drink. So ecstasy came along. Well, first of all, it was Camels, obviously smoking blow. Started that when I was in school. That's when I started selling blow. I was actually there because I was banning it, and because I was in school, I didn't have any money. So the fella I was getting it off turned around and says, "Why don't you take an ounce, cut it into 4, sell 3 quarters, and then you get a free quarter?" So that was my introduction into
mathematics.
That was probably what I left school with: how to cut blow and how to play football and draw.
How old were you when you started smoking blow?
About 15, 16, 14, 15 maybe. Young age anyway. But then trips came along, acid, and I loved acid. Loved tripping, probably my choice of drug back then, to be honest. So it was it's funny because it was acid which ended up changing my life in a big way, but go on that later on. But started on the acid, and then Ease came along, and then I loved Ease. I just loved them. No, it was good.
How did you feel on E?
Brilliant.
Okay.
I love, because especially from Northern Ireland, we would have went in the nightclub and you could have been with people from the different side of the fence, but you'd all get on.
Yeah.
Everybody's on Ease and you're all hugging each other and loving each other. No,
Yeah.
it sort of broke down barriers, you know what I mean? So it did growing up, so did the acid too. Like. And then I just loved it, my lifestyle, loved that, but just got deeper and deeper and deeper, and then started taking or selling drugs as well. So it did so I was more or less feeding your own habit, basically.
Okay.
And then
sorry, can I just ask you quickly about the acid? Did you have any bad trips in that? Is that not very scary?
I've had a few bad trips, yeah. Crazy bad trips.
Okay.
But I still loved it. No, at the end of the day, I just loved acid. You can take an acid and your whole outlook in life can change straight away. No, so you can. It's like a spiritual thing.
Okay.
And like, see, going into a trip with one of your mates and you are both on the same trip, you can communicate without talking. It's crazy. No, like your spirit, like your soul connects, you know what I mean? So it's just a really mad thing, but I loved it anyway. And then loved partying, loved life, enjoying life. So it just got bigger and bigger. That was the only thing I cared about. Having a good time with your mates, making memories and enjoying yourself. Like, even though all the money I made through that sort of lifestyle, I spent on that lifestyle. I spent it. I wouldn't even like to know what I spent, but it'd probably be over £1 million I play over the years, like.
Okay.
But I had some cracking times, like. No, I used to say, my motto was like, people used to say, why don't you save your money? Why don't you do this? Why do you do that? And I was like, see, if I die tomorrow, at least I can say I enjoyed myself. No, there's no point dying with £1 million in your bank account. No, you might as well enjoy it while you can. So that was my outlook in life. But then I overdosed. I was actually on the run from the police, so I wasn't as living in Ballinhinch, but I worked the whole way through. I always had my job, always kept a job, like. So
as in your pest control job,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So went through pest control, got in a bit of trouble. I was actually sacked 3 times from Grove. So I was for lost the check and then was stoned one day, and I found the check and went in and cashed it, even though I got a new check replaced. So I lost my job back. They gave me my job back, and then I crashed a van, blocked one day, and then spray painted over the top.
For anyone that doesn't know what blocked means, it means off your head on drugs or a drink. Oh, was it drink?
I shouldn't have been driving, but then back in them days it was just wild. You just know what I mean. But crashed the van, then thought it'd be a good idea to spray paint it, and actually forgot all about it. The next day I drove into the office, and the mechanic seen my van, his face dropped, and I was like, what's wrong with him? And it sort of clicked. I was like, oh shit. And I got out and looked at the van. There's a big dent in it. You want to see the state of it, but I spray painted the tire and everything. You want to see the hack of it. And I got sacked for that, and then they brought me back again, and then the third time was I got lifted for 6 armed robberies and 3 thefts.
Okay.
And they were able to link the security plate, but it took them about 2 years to find me because of the security plate. But they came look at me, but I knew they were looking at me, so I took myself off. And I was living in Ballinhinch and found one day I was walking down past Country Fried Chicken. There was a plastic bag and I hit it a bit, and there was 6 ounces of pure base speed. So I took 2 weeks off work and just got wrecked. And then ended up overdosed. I was going in to get glucose out of Tesco's or something, and I woke up in Ulster Hospital, strapped to a heart machine. I actually thought I was dead. I woke up and there was all these bright lights and a man standing with a white coat, and I thought, oh, Jesus. I was like, fuck, am I dead? So, but that was, he turned around and says to me, like, they tried to scare me, and they says, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, you're going to be dead before you're 21. And that, to me, I was just like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to enjoy myself to the max. No, I'm going to do whatever I can. No, while I'm still got the time to enjoy myself. I just haven't died yet. And didn't stop until I got to about 35, went to jail. Or 33, 33 I must have been when I went to jail. So,
okay.
But it just got deeper and deeper, and then, so ended up getting arrested for that, went to High Bank for 2 weeks, and then ended up getting done, but it was just like community service, fine, blah, 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 stuff like that. Wasn't too bad, but that was my introduction to being interviewed for serious crime by the police, and I didn't really know much about it. But then you get schooled, you start to learn over the time.
How'd you answer the questions properly?
Or say none. But just went through, so that's got out of High Bank, and then just kept going, got arrested. Then they got involved with paramilitaries because I was selling drugs in their community, and you don't get away with selling gear in their community if you're not involved. So I ended up getting an ultimatum, and it was either, we know you're selling gear, you can come work with us. But I knew, I was put across in a sort of polite sort of way, but I knew I had no choice. If I'd have said no, I'd end up getting clipped. So I said, right, okay. So started working for them. The worst thing I ever done was you get stroked left, right, and centre. But
What does stroked mean?
they just put more money. You have to pay them like extra money because of who they are. Basically.
Okay.
So people on the street can buy gear cheaper than you, but you're trying to sell it. No, it's just a hard, not good life. You're under control. Unless you're in the leadership sort of side, you're just a puppet. You know what I mean? You're just a number and you're just used and abused, to be honest. That's the way that lifestyle is. And then, so got into that, started getting involved, and that's ended up joining the UFF, which is the military wing of the UA. And then I see back in, I was just that up for life and up for things. Somebody says, if something hadn't needed done, I was like, I'll do it, you know what I mean? But just being stupid, young and stupid, didn't really know what I was doing, what I was getting involved in. Then ended up getting arrested in 2004, stopped in my work van in Bangor, my hometown, on Saturday night. Pulled into a petrol station, police stopped, searched my van 3 times over before they found anything. But when they found it, they came everywhere and found 650s or something, 4,000 blues, a stun gun, samurai swords, flags, everything. And that was me screwed. So that was me away to jail for the first time for a long time.
Sorry, they found a lot of armoury. It wasn't drugs.
Weapons. Drugs, yeah.
Okay,
but I
drugs.
was selling drugs, but I was meeting people who could, in that life, you can be, people could try and rob you or people can try and
kill you.
So you need to be ready for backing yourself up. So I had a samurai sword under behind the driving seat, a stun gun behind the passenger seat, and 2 big samurai swords in the back, and hammers.
Did you know how to use them?
Oh, well, the sword, you just swing it. The stun gun, you just... But the stun gun, we tested it, and I get done for possession of firearms for the stun gun, 4 years for it. I actually get 16 years in total. And then, that time, but only had to serve the highest sentence, which was 4 years. So I'd done 2 years in jail and 2 years in licence. But I was done under the terrorist act, so it was, because of what I was caught with. So, like, that's but like Al Qaeda and all them boys, that's, if they're done, I'm done with the same thing they are. I was like, how can I be done under the terrorist act? I'm not a terrorist, but that's the way it was.
So it wasn't terrorist activity you were doing when you were working for the paramilitaries, it was drugs?
Drugs,
Okay.
So it was, but I think because I had the van tooled up to the teeth, so it was done. Even the commander come up and see me and he was like, what the hell are you doing driving a pipe out in your van? He says, you have more gear in that van than we do. Well, that's the way it was. I was just nuts, you know what I mean? I was just hyper, always have been. I think if you tested me now, I'd probably ADHD and everything under the sun. But you know what I mean? It just shows you don't need to put medication or if you have ADHD, learn to live with it, you know what I mean? Be who you are, you're unique. I think a lot of creative people and a lot of artists are notoriously nuts, so I think you just learn to deal with it instead of giving them medication and putting them back in a box. Let them be unique, let them be their people, you know what I mean? Just because you're believable.
Do you think though that you may have got on so well with drugs and enjoyed drugs because that you, I know that you're self-diagnosing yourself with ADHD, but do you think that, the cannabis in particular would have calmed you down a bit maybe and you kind of like that feeling?
Because see, if I don't take drugs, or when I don't, my head used to go mad, but I never worry. It's like a type of anxiety, but I don't worry about what's coming. I would think about things are coming and work out how to deal with it before it happens. And just like plan. Like I used to, before I phoned somebody, I would have worked out what I was going to ask them, what their answer could have been, like 3 different answers, and then worked. So I already had the conversation planned in my head before I talked to these people. No, so you're already steps ahead, you know what I mean?
And do you still use drugs occasionally?
Not as much now, but I would think sometimes we'd just have a wee smoke of candles and stuff like that. Because but I see, to be honest, I'm in that much pain, and like I've had 2 transplants and stuff too. But I was saying that I'm like you said. See, looking back at my life now, I actually think I was taking drugs to try and like deal with what I had, like motion, things like that. It's like self-medicating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like even though I was going through a lot of pain in my stomach, I've always had issues with my stomach. And at one point, Magilligan was seeing a specialist.
So Magilligan is the prison, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was actually about to be diagnosed with what do you call it? Crohn's disease.
Okay.
They told me it was either cancer, Crohn's disease, or very, very serious IBS, but they had done an MRI scan, it wasn't cancer, and your mum was actually going to diagnose me with Crohn's disease. like I had that camera treatment like 15 odd times, know everything. I was doing my head in for years. This went on, and then your man was that old, and I think something happened to him, and he didn't come in. But then I got out of prison, and I moved back to Bangor, or Donegal, I think, sorry, and because I moved at the different different health trust, and they don't share the information. So my doctor advised me to start from scratch, and I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going through all that. So I just dealt with it and just got on with my own way. So I did. So actually, it's funny because now you're looking back on your life, you can actually see things and why they happen and the reason they happen. No, well, I'm not trying to like justify it. That's to myself. That's to me personally. I'm justifying it to myself, and I don't really care whatever. No, because to me that's the way it was.
Yeah.
And that's how I dealt with it. No, everybody deals with trauma and things like that in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they do. But I went through a crazy life too, which, see, looking back, seeing them days, it was just normal life. Like whenever we were going through feuds, I used to go to bed with a bulletproof jacket on, a 9mm pistol under my pillow every night.
How old were you at this time? Like, was this in your 20s? Okay.
Going right through my 20s, to be honest.
Okay.
So it was living that lifestyle. You're living on the edge, like, and especially in a loyalist feud, anybody's a target.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, actually. Is this feuding between the loyalists themselves, or is it between the Republicans and
No. I'd never had any issues with it. We'd never done. I joined up probably about 1998, 1999, in and around that. Can't really remember the amount of years I took on dates, and plus I'm dyslexic, so I'm terrible with dates. But I joined up just after the troubles were sort of fizzling out, so we were, and the ceasefire was on. So any time we had any trouble or fighting, it was with other loyalist paramilitary organisations, because, see, boiled down to it, it's all about drugs. And we were told different. You were used as a puppet, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you were killing other people, fighting other people over areas and money. It's all to do with drugs and power. It's gangsterism. It's not paramilitaries, it's gangsterism. So it is. See now, the paramilitaries were probably more of a problem in the community. That's not what they were made for. Paramilitaries were designed to defend their community and look after the people. See now, they're robbing their people, they're getting them addicted, they're putting them out of their houses, they're just over money. That's disgusting, turns me, to be honest.
Okay.
So it does.
Yeah.
There's no more morals, there's no blame, it's just went to the dogs. It's like the rest of the world, to be honest, it's just mad. No.
And you don't really hear about that in the media. You know,
they're all working together, so it's all designed and working together and stuff like that.
Because I have friends that work in, say, hospitals and that, and they would say they see people coming in with the wounds and with the issues.
Getting shot,
but it's not.
No, they don't want you to, because they want to be put out as if we're, everything's wonderful, it's all peace, there's all things. See the problem in Northern Ireland with drugs at the minute, and even Dublin, like, see heroin and all. Like, I was sitting the other day at a place in Belfast, well-known place, and I was standing, there's a crowd of about 20 people, and you knew they were drug addicts, and as soon as this silver car pulled up, they all run over into this car. They were getting heroin or crack or something like that, and the police went past on a pushback and done nothing. Just looked at them and cycled on. See if that was careless, they would have jumped all over you. You know what I mean? But they're turning a blind eye to heroin and crack.
But if it was cannabis, they wouldn't. Is that what you're saying?
No, they do you for cannabis.
Okay.
So, but they're
and
turning
why
a blind.
Do you think that is?
But they would rather let people die.
Okay.
It's easier to let them die with addiction like that. It's too hard to deal with. And the amount of money it would cost to get them into rehab to deal with it.
It is very tricky.
They can't deal with it. It's too control. It's too out of control. So I think they've just decided. It's like, if you're an alcoholic, you get full rate PIP like that. But then people actually need PIP or struggling, don't get it. No, it's like
What's PIP? Sorry.
It's like, that's like personal independent payment. So it's like people who are sick or people who can't work because of an illness or stuff like that. But they're giving it to like drug addict, alcoholics. But they're giving them money to kill themselves. No, because it's easier to deal with. It's easier for them to kill themselves than it is to deal with. You know, it's sad. That's how sad the world is today. Like. So it's like most of the times, if you go to a doctor too, for some things they'll give you a tablet. Like, but if you go to a physiotherapist or something like that, you can deal with that issue naturally without taking medication.
Yeah.
But they'd rather get you on the pills. You know, like, that's the way the world is at the minute, unfortunately. So it is sad.
It is a bit crazy, isn't it?
But see, to be honest too, see the jails at the minute. Like, I go back into prison to teach art. It's all prescription drugs. It's all Subutex. It's all gabapentin. That's the problem in the jails. It's about drugs that doctors are giving out, which is causing the problem. It's crazy.
And they all go onto the streets then too, as you know, I'm sure. Did you try heroin yourself ever?
I smoked it once. And it was, the fella I was in doubled up with, he's dead now. I knew him from Bangor, and he was more of a hood, and I was like paramilitary, so we didn't really. I think I beat him up a few times, but we were in a cell together, and I usually smoked blow, so I didn't have blow, and he says to me, "Why don't you try this?" And I was like, "What's it doing?" He's like, "It's just like smoking a bong." I was like, I smoked this, and I come back round. I was ready for. I went nuts to him, and I was like, "Don't you ever give me something like that again." I says, "Without letting me know," I says, "That's the worst thing I've ever had in my life. I hated that. It's disgusting." I never went near it. I wouldn't even.
Why?
It's
What was the
disgusting.
feeling that made you?
It was horrible.
Okay.
So it was I was lying, my body was bouncing. I felt like the old damn boys when you're getting resuscitated.
Yeah.
Your body was just bouncing. But I don't like opiates at all. No, even tramadol, any cocodamol. See the itch and all, and that just makes you feel like crap. I prefer to take uppers and enjoy it.
You're talking about drugs like you're a pharmacist yourself.
Well, apparently was, yeah. If you'd have seen my house some days, you'd have thought it was one.
And then obviously in jail, drugs are very, like, I mean, they're rife, aren't they?
Yeah, try to control.
Well, you're saying prescription drugs, but also obviously the illicit drugs too.
See, to be honest, that's actually the boys I've been talking to since I went back into the jail, and they said, like, since I've got out, it's got 10 times worse, and it was bad when I was in. They says it's just completely out of control. They says you don't even have smoke, you don't get blow, you don't get grass. It's all. I think they're smoking that spice, which is.
What is that?
It's nuts. It's if you watch videos, there's videos of it. The boys are taking it over and they turn into zombies and roll about the floor and all. It's just, I've never tried it, wouldn't touch it. No, see things like that. See if you see, same as to me personally. See if somebody takes crack or heroin. What good reports do you hear? The only thing you end up robbing your mum or your granny to pay for it, or you end up dead, or you end up you don't end up in a good way. No, why the hell would you even entertain it? Know what I mean? I can't get my head around why people, because all the reports you hear about it aren't good. No, so why on earth would you try it? But it's sad too to show you the state the world's in, that many people are taking that sort of drug, that just feel that there's no other way to deal with life apart from taking serious drugs. Like,
I know, it is sad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's scary. It breaks my heart too. But see, before, like when I was involved with all that world, I was a black heart. I was switched off to emotion. Didn't feel anything. You had to be. You couldn't have any emotion. You couldn't have any feelings. So nothing annoyed me. Nothing bothered me. Like, I went to funerals of my family members and I didn't even cry. Didn't even bother me. I was switched off. And then once I took up art again in prison, sorry, I forgot back to me art actually. When I went into jail in 2004, ended up with an ODC for a while, and then went on to the Loyalist wing. And because I was in the Loyalist...
Sorry, what's ODC?
Ordinary decent criminal.
Ordinary decent criminal.
Tour riders and thieves and whatever else, but they're really decent criminals.
So no paramilitary?
No.
Okay.
But then I went on to the Loyalist wing.
And why was that? Why did they move you?
Because I wanted on to it, because of my community, it's my background. Sort of
okay.
So I went on to there, and but it was controlled movement and stuff. But a lot of teachers, you couldn't go to education because you're segregated prisoner. You're kept in that house. You have your own gym. You're completely separated. It's Republican and Loyalist compounds in together. It's actually a high secure jail in Europe, so it is in that compound. And
is that because there's fighting in between the Loyalists and the Republicans when they're in the prison, or no?
Because they're so high. It's so like it's controlled movement. You're only allowed 3 prisoners out at a time. You're only allowed 3 prisoners to move at any time because they don't want to go like a maze where the prisoners take control. So they don't.
Okay.
When the maze was up, the prisoners run the jail. They controlled it when the screws come onto the wing. They controlled who was coming on. They controlled everything. They had the full run of the way out of the jail, like so they don't want to going back like that.
Okay.
So it's very, very tight security, like so it is. But I moved on there, and then there was a girl, Anne Scullion, and she worked for Prison Arts Foundation. So she was the only teacher who would come into us and the Republicans because nobody else would do it. They were obviously paramilitaries. They were terrified of going into work with paramilitaries, which you can understand too. A normal person going into that life, they were probably terrified. You know what I mean? But Anne came in for a play there, and I'd done a wee bit of art then. I'd done 3 paintings then, and enjoyed it, loved it. But when I got out of jail in 2004 or 6, I got involved with the political side of the UPRG, and then ended up in Dublin meeting Mary McAleese, the Irish president at the time, and then was asked to go over to Belgium on behalf of the Brigadiers because it was the first year that Ireland of Ireland Peace Initiative, and it was the first time like the 16th Irish Division were remembered for giving their lives in the First World Wars alongside the 36th Ulster Division. So it wasn't only Protestants died, both sides of the community died in the First World War, like loads of them, and sacrificed. So we went over to that, but the UDA and Sinn Féin didn't want to be seen as UDA Sinn Féin because they were just testing waters. So we were sent over as, well, we were UPRG, but then there's a concerned market residents group, which was Sinn Féin. But so we went over just to sort of test the water and stuff, so we did and got it up and running, but it's still running this day. Like. So it is, but it's over in Battle of Messines and the Battle of Somme and stuff, and you went around all the graves and all. It was
So when
mad.
you came out of prison, you went and joined the political part of the UDA.
Yeah, but I was still involved with the other side of it too.
You were still okay, but you came down and met the President of Ireland, and you went off and did other things on
behalf.
And was that on behalf of the peace process then, or behalf?
Well,
of...
I was representing the UDA.
Okay.
So I was at these events. So like that time we went down to Mir MacLeise's piece. David Irvine was still there. He was there. And
Okay.
Frankie Gallagher was the leader of the UPRG. He was there, and actually ended up having an argument with one at that meeting. But that's whenever I started turning my back against the paramilitaries, because I heard things at that meeting which turned me in my stomach. Do you know what I mean? Because I wasn't for decommissioning and all. I just thought it was a bad idea, because I said if we give our guns in, we become toothless tigers. So we're just toothless tiger.
Toothless tiger. Okay.
You're not you wouldn't be seen as a threat anymore.
Okay.
Because you weren't armed and dangerous. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
the government could just use you as a puppet. So that was my issue back then, because I was hardline, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
That's what I said. If we give our guns in, we're just seen as a toothless tiger. We'll be no threat, we'll be nothing, and they'll just take us out of control, you know what I mean? So, and they wanted to go down that route, so I started breaking off and doing my own thing, and that's whenever I got put out. I said I got expelled and told to get out of the country, and I just laughed at them and said, I did, I'm going nowhere, and then moved to Belfast. So then, but
were you not scared that they'd
no, and
come after you?
Stayed in my house for 2 months after, and then moved. Once I finally got my house ready in Belfast, moved to Belfast, and then was living up there, comfortable, sweet, dead on, no hassle, no bother, just went about my business, nobody knew me. And then my brother was arrested for shooting in Bangor, and to give our addresses out, and then that's when the mainstream media came, and I went out, there's about 500 of them outside my door, and I went out with a machete and a crossbow, and I was like, come on, let's be having it. And the police come up and told me to go, and I was like, what? The man standing threatening to kill me. I said, this is my partner's home. And they were just like, we advise you to go, get out. And I was just, so I actually had to leave my home. So then we left. Like, I says to them, why don't you go and find out? I says, why don't you question them? They're like, who is it? And I was like, I don't know. That's your job. Go and ask them. And the one that just says, put his face into my face and was like, not going to happen. Just get out.
Okay.
And that's a police lie. So you knew you're fighting two sides, or you weren't fighting one. So that was me. I left. And then me being me, like a prick, stubborn wee kid, wasn't taking this lightly. So I went and stayed in the friends' houses, hotels, blah, blah, blah. But I had my partner, so that was my main concern. So, and her well-being. So I actually said to her, I've run out of money. I can't keep you anymore. You have to go and stay in your mum's. So I took her to her mum's, dropped her off, and that got a lot of arms and went back to the house, because the second command in North Belfast UDA lived across the road from me at the time. So I knew he would have seen me in the house and thought they would have came. So me and a couple of mates stayed in the house with a lot of guns waiting for him, and they didn't come. So next morning, my mates were leaving and they went to take everything. I said, you might leave me something. I said, come, I'm screwed. So I kept a 9mm pistol and went up and we stayed up all night on the coke, on the drink, smoking joints, waiting for them to come just to get in them. And then didn't come, so they all left. I went up, wrecked, got into bed for an hour's sleep. Next minute, all you heard, boom, 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 boom. It was actually funny. My ex-partner phoned me, and I answered the phone. She was like, you're in that house, aren't you? And I was like, yep. And then I heard bang, bang, bang. I actually went out, cocked the gun, went out the thing with the window to open up, and there was the police. And I was like, oh, shit. And I run in the back room to throw it out the window. I'm actually getting written stuff, which I didn't denied, to be honest, at the first. But went to throw the gun over the limestone road. And then they were up the back road. They were everywhere. So I threw the gun down the back of the spare room of the bed. And I got arrested. And then obviously they come in. But they didn't get the gun. They found a sock with 10 rounds, 6 ecstasy tablets, 6 grams of coke, 5 E's, 5 blues, and whatever else.
What's a blue?
Valium.
Okay,
yeah. Diazepam.
Okay.
So they lifted me for that. But I was like, happy days, I'm getting out, because it didn't get anything serious. So I thought I'd be out the next morning, and they opened the door the next morning and was like, we went back and re-raided your house and found a loaded gun. So I says, you obviously put it there, or else the UDA put it. So I started going down that route, which probably wasn't a good idea, to be honest, but they actually cracked up, because I was more or less saying that they were working hand in hand, which didn't go, know what I mean, but it was just me being me, and it was the first thing came into my head for an excuse to get away with. I was like, will you put it there? No, I knew Frank loser, but I denied him. I was like, no, mine, you put it there. I was like, how'd you miss it in the first search? No, because they ripped the place apart. I don't know how on earth they didn't find it. And they were like, we're willing to admit that we screwed up. if you admit the gun was yours, and I was like, it's not mine. You must have put it there. I says, I want that tested and see if I was used before North Belfast. I was just being a wee prick, to be honest, but just trying to get off it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I took a deal, threw my hands up, took a deal for 4 years and got 24. So they did in total. So they give me 5 years for 5 Vs, 5 years for 6 grams of coke, 3 years for 5 blues, 2.5 years for a gram and a half of grass, 2.5 years for passing a joint, and 2 the
So it's all drugs charges.
I know it's caught with a gun. No, it's caught with a gun. So I got 7 years for the gun. So I had to do the 7 years. So
Okay.
And then but that was a godsend because I needed to go to jail.
Okay.
I was out of control. And if I didn't go to jail when I did, I'd be dead or I'd be serving life. That's just the way it was. So
Okay.
my brother's serving life. He's
Is
serving
he?
20 years. He's done 10. He's another 10 to go. So he was.
For what?
Murder.
Okay.
Murder and attempted murder. 2 fellas were shot. But actually, I'm not saying he was directly with the evidence against him. He shouldn't have got charged. He shouldn't have been done with it. But listen, you know what it's like. It's a political thing. So that's just that life. That's what happens to you. That's why I do what I do now, to try and educate younger ones coming up now, to say to them, listen, that's not the life. That's not the style of life you want to get involved in. You don't want to go down that route, because at the end of the day, you either end up in jail or you end up dead. No, that's the only, or else you end up killing each other. I've seen best mates, lifelong mates, falling out with each other over a couple of quid. And you're like, money? Over money? What the fuck's money? No, at the end of the day, what's your morals? What's more important? Know what I mean? It's sad, because the world this day now, everybody thinks making money's the best thing to do, you know what I mean?
I know, it's very much about hustle culture, isn't it? And about trying to make as much as you can, as quickly as you can, and
whatever way possible.
Yeah.
And they'll do whatever they can to get it. It stinks, but I've near died a few times, so once you near die, you actually realise what the meaning of life and what life about, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So that's what I say. So I went into jail then, so in 2000, and I got arrested in 2011, was bailed out after about 6 months or something. To 2013, went into jail in 2013, and then was in Magilligan, and I was actually then got on to the long-termers wing with my brother, and they told me that I'd be staying there. When I was in 23-hour lockup in Magilligan, there was a typical prison cell. There's a picture of a woman with not much clothes on the wall, so I decided to start drawing her, and just started from there.
Actually, I saw on your website you do a lot of nudes.
That life drawing's the best drawing you can do.
You do like a naked woman.
Yeah, and men too. Yeah. Which at the start I was really, when Mum walked in, took his gear, and I was like, fuck me, it wasn't comfortable. But see, when you start drawing a body, it's not like you're looking at it, and you're looking at it in an artist's point of view. You break that body into shapes. You're not looking at it as a body. You're looking at it as different, like a jigsaw, wee pieces, and you just draw. You're kind of concentrating on drawing. See, after 2 minutes, you're
checked out.
That sort of thing switches off. Don't get me wrong, she's a good looking girl. She goes in, you're like, fuck, she ever heard? No, but after you start drawing, it goes out. That's the way it is. But I actually done it. I'm not even going to say that actually, because it might cause problems. But I go
on.
No. We'll end up getting all sorts of trouble.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm filter free, which I need to sort of learn to sort of cut out. But it is what it is. I just tell her how it is. But that's what I'm saying. So started drawing in lockup, because it's a 23-hour lockup when you first go in, and then enjoyed it, and actually realised, fuck, I can draw. No, so I actually completely forgot I could draw. Didn't even know. And then because of my life, and then started doing a wee bit of drawing in Magilligan, but it was just sketching and things like that. And then one night they came to me, I was getting locked up, and they says to me, I hope you've got your bucket and spade. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, bucket and spade? I was like, what are you on about? And she was like, you're going to Magilligan in the morning? I was like, no, I'm not. So I was like, I blew up. I was cracking, because I didn't want to go leave I was on the wing with my brother. So I didn't want to leave with him, and it thought of change is horrible. So next morning, opened my cell, but it was a low secure, well, it wasn't low secure, but it was an open wing, because they're long-termers, the doors were open, and you could run about to do your own thing. So I was running in and out of people's cells, hiding under beds, doing everything just to try and get away from the screws, because I didn't want to go to Magilligan. And then they got me and they says, listen, you've 2 choices. We're going to tie you up like a chicken and take you, or else you can go of your own accord. So I was just like, might as well go of my own accord. So,
and why did they move you?
I don't know. Probably because it's in my brother.
Okay.
And we weren't really, they probably thought we were up to something, but that's just the way it is. Because the media, when we both got arrested, the media hammered the life out of us. They thought we were friggin' the next craze for fuck's sake. But there's loads of bollocks. But once you know what the media can do, they can spin anything once you're sort of in trouble, you know what I mean? But
Okay.
because of certain links we had, they were sort of saying we run a drug empire, but which would straddle the Irish Sea, and we're bringing guns and drugs from Liverpool and Dublin, and we were some sort of mastermind kingpins. But fuckers know not going to do it again on the road, you know. And then so that was me. But then got moved to Magilligan, which was it was a godsend. Everything happens for a reason. I moved to Magilligan, enrolled in the art class, and I met Allison Wilson, who she was one of the best people I've ever met in my life. See, if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. I had no confidence or belief in my work, and she pushed me. She pushed me. But all my pencils drawn, I'm self-taught. Nobody taught. I taught myself how to draw with pencil. The only thing I got was Bobby Mawson, another fella I met, who's a brilliant person and helped change my life too. But was how to shade with like a wee stump and then thing. But that's only the help I got drawing with pencil. But Alison taught me Alison taught me how to paint, how to mix colours, But see the organs we used to have because I'm colourblind. So I would ask her what colour is that, and she would say it's green. I'd be like, no, it's not brown. And she would be like, you ask me what colour it is, it's green. I'd be like, it's brown. No, I was a stubborn wee kid, like, so used to have a bit of crack. But then just learned my painting and stuff. But then I started enrolling and done a lot of qualifications too. But then I became the orderly in the art department. So I was working with Alison 4 days a week. And then I done the cleaning on a Friday.
So was Alison a lady who...
She was an art teacher.
She was an art teacher and she worked in the prison?
Yeah.
Okay. So she wasn't an inmate herself in any way? She
No,
she
just worked in the prison, yeah. So she was actually... We have prison arts who I work for now, and they would have their artists who go into the jails and work, and also with people in the community. But Alison didn't actually work with Pap. She worked alongside them, but she didn't work for them. But she was amazing. Like, do
you know what made her choose that as her?
She's just such a nice person.
Okay.
But she had cancer. We knew she had cancer, so she started not being able to come in as much and cut down to 3 days. And the girl was down with cancer and she still come into Teasels art. Even though she was going through cancer, just tells you what sort of type of woman she was, you know what I mean? But she put me through a lot of qualifications, showed me how to paint, and then I helped her. And like, we used to have the headers. In the morning, you had the serious GCSE class, boys doing the qualifications, good artists. In the afternoon, you had the headers class. You used to get the list of who was coming down. You were just like,
the headers class.
It's
so funny, these little terms that you're using, the headers, I know them because they're all northern.
Proper headers, like, I used to look at the list and be like, I can talk, I used to be a bit of a header myself, but you used to look at the list and just be like, no way, how are we going to control these headers? Thought everything would have had to be locked up and everything safe. But see, when these boys come down, these boys couldn't be controlled anywhere else in the jail. Just off its scales, buck mad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they used to come down and they're all hyper shouting, blah, 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 See, once someone couldn't draw, so me or Alison would have drew it out for him. I would have used a projector to get the inmates out and just done the outline for them. And then we would have sat with them, showed them how to draw, how to shade, if it was pencil work, show them how to mix colours, how to do it and stuff like that. And see, we have 15 minutes, you could hear a pin drop. And then the boys were actually asking, can I take us back to the cell and work in the cell? See, art in jail, that's the main place them boys should be given materials to work, because you need art when you're locked behind a door, not when you're sitting in a classroom with a load of people and having a bit of crack. Because that's the time
you have to have a talent originally, though,
No, I think everything. See, to be honest, anybody I ask about art or to say about art, and the first thing everybody says is, I couldn't draw a stick man. Art's not about drawing a stick man. You look at boys these days, abstract artists. It looks like my wee lads do a lot of painting onto a canvas, but they can talk about that story. But everybody has their own unique way of expressing themselves. So see, whatever way mark making or whatever way you paint or whatever, that's your unique skill, that's your unique talent. You can never judge anybody or put them down by what art they create, because at the end of the day, that's their own expression. That's that person's. If you put somebody down for their art, you're criticising that person personally.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? So don't get me wrong, sometimes positive critique is good, where somebody could tell you, listen, not bad, but you could do this or do, and try and help you. But see people just going down and going, that's crap, it dampens that person. They'll maybe not want to do it again. Know what I mean?
Okay.
So it does. But if somebody wants to express themselves or do it, my advice to anybody would be, give it a go, give it a try. You know, see the amount of ones I hear too, and they're like, I done art in school, but I loved it, but I never do it anymore. You're like, why not? And you're like, I don't have the time. Make time. No, Don't sit and watch fucking EastEnders. Fucking do a bit of painting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you can make time if you want to. You know what I mean? But it might not be for everybody. I understand that, but give it a go and try. I see the amount of people who actually do try. Like that's what I'm saying. These boys are coming down. Never done it before, and they've done it. And then they're one that go up and take it, and then see whenever they finish their first piece, see the sense of pride and achievement they get for it, and then see if they send it to the Kessler competition in London and win an award for it, or get a highly recommended award, and you get comments back from the judges. Like the year I won a big award, it was Grayson Perry was the judge. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's judged by any sort of agent. No, it's being judged at all. See, when you get that certificate, that could be your first ever achievement or something you've done in your life. It can change your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a big, big impact, and I've witnessed it. Like that's why I do what I do. Whenever I left prison, I said, if I could always do for somebody else what Allison done for me, it would be worthwhile doing. And that was my goal. That was my main goal, leaving jail. And now, I done the documentary, this Art Behind Bars, and it was me going back into Magilligan, into the art room, where I learned, that's where my art properly took off. And I created, I loved it. I spent, 3 years of my life in there, with Allison and doing the work. And it just blew my mind. But see walking back into that art room, because Alison died the first year after I got out. She died of cancer. And then my dad died of cancer the second that year after. And I've had a lot of deaths since I got out, to be honest. But it's just life, isn't it? But see walking back into that art room, see the emotion, fuck, I was in bits. And there was a camera stuck in your face, and I was like, get out of my face, would you leave me alone? You know what I mean? It broke me, like. But see, even that drive up to Magilligan, it was the most emotional journey I've been on in my life, because you're thinking of your dad, my Uncle Wilf, all these people who supported me and died. And my Uncle Wilf died 2 years ago. It was his anniversary yesterday, actually. And then my wee cousin Sean died last year. I've lost 7 people, close friends, since I've got out. I'm only out 7 years. I pray every day that somebody else doesn't die this year. At least give me a break. Fuck's sake. Should have been dead myself too. But so I done the art in our Allison. Done a lot of qualifications. Done my GCSE. But got an A. First time in my life I'd got an A for something which I enjoyed doing. And I was like, fuck. I actually felt proud of myself. For something that I actually done, which is good. I've achieved a lot of stuff and cool. Like when I left school, my main ambition was to be a gangster and be in the thing. I just love. I watched Scarface one day, and it just fucking. I could do that. No, make a load of money and don't do much work. I just tried to get an easy route through life with making a lot of money. And then see, after your experiences, you learn, like, see, chasing money. See, if you're always wanting, you'll never be happy. You'll always be wanting more. You'll always be fighting to get more money. Mm-hmm. You'll never finish at that grade. So look at the likes of them millionaires now, and all of that. Your man Gates and all those them coming. How much money do you need? How much money do you want? Know what I mean? Like, you couldn't spend it in your lifetime if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Do something positive with it. Know what I mean? Yeah. But actually, it's just the world. That's the way people are. Like, the world's poverty. Some of them boys get cleaner like that, and they probably wouldn't even miss it. Know what I mean? It just shows you how much greed and craps in the world. Like, know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I believe as well. Going through art, the maddest thing to me was, we done it sitting coming up to Christmas one year. I think it was 2015. Can't really remember. And Governor Millie, number 2 governor he was at the time, Magilligan, come walking in the art room and was like, lads, can you do us a favour? And I was like, we were all like, what? And he was like, do you fancy doing a wee project? And we were like, aye, no sweat. And he was like, dead on. And we were like, what's it for? And he goes, it's Holocaust Memorial, for Holocaust Memorial Day. And he was like, it's alongside the Holocaust Memorial Trust or something like that. I can't really remember. But everything had to be 100%. They had to verify everything all before you used it. If there's anything to do with Germans, no, you weren't allowed to use it. So we worked alongside them. So all the information and all the names we wrote in them huts was all completely accurate of people who had lost their lives in that war.
So what did you do? Sorry, what was the project?
There was 4 Nissan huts in Foltry, which is actually funny because
4 Nissan huts.
That's like these like half circles, and it's like corrugated iron. No,
okay.
Roof, like with things, like a wee circle. I've actually drew it. I'll show you my phone. I'll show you it soon. So, and so that was our art room, but even our art room was one of them huts. But we went out to these 4 huts, which were disused, abandoned, and they were falling apart once they stayed them. But he says to us, can you do the project? So what we done was turn these 4 Nissan huts, which were built in World War II, into a visual and audio exhibition, memorial for the Holocaust. So you walked in through, and then they had like a Hitler speech and all, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a really dark room, and the governor banged the door shut. And whenever all the school kids mainly we took in, and community groups, and he got all the kids in, then he banged the freaking door shut, and they're all fucking screaming, just to give them the experience of what it might have been like going through a small experience of it. And then used to take them into the second part, and there was like the painting, the famous photograph of the Jews being liberated, where they're all standing behind the barbed wire in their in their pajamas with their stars, and it's all mostly kids. I drew that. I done a big portrait of it on a board, and it's there. And then you went into like a room, but we painted it so it was like the carriages, what they took to the Auschwitz and all in. So it was like wooden. It was painted like, but it looked like wooden, and it was all darked out. Once again, you got them into this wee room, packed it full, and then he banged it, and then he done the part, like, he slammed the door behind him. There was just to give them that sort of impact. And then
when you were drawing that yourself, was that visual something that you come up with, or were you told to draw it that way?
No, we were able to draw whatever, but we had to come up with ideas, and then we had to go to get them to verify to say yes or no if it could be used. So it's very, very strict rules, like, but you can understand why.
Oh yeah.
So we done the exhibit. So there's 4 huts. You went in that. The first hut was like the thing. Then you put them into like the railway view thing. And I'll show you in the phone when I finish. And then they went into the next room, which was the death camp room. So it had all the death camps, all the execution places, and the amount of people who died in each place. Like 6.5 million people in Auschwitz, or something like that, and all the different places, and all that. And then you had the TV, and it was a survivor who was giving a story and talking, and he was like more or less saying, when are we ever going to learn to just get on? Why did we have to kill each other? When's genocide going to stop? Just treat each other with respect, no matter what your skin colour, race, or whatever. Just treat each other with respect, which is brilliant. And then they took them out of there and took them into the main hut. And what it was the hut. But we hand wrote all the names of people who and their age, their name, their age, and where they died. And on this weird board, there's like names everywhere. And then we done like a big abstract painting of Auschwitz at the back. And then you put like candles up beside. So it was a dimly lit room with candles, and we had like an audio playing. And see every time I hear the prayer or in Hebrew, the hairs in the back of my neck stood up every single time I heard it. It shook. It was emotional. The emotional journey. I was mad, but see, doing that, writing them names, I was writing that, and I was like, how can you be so? Like, I understand people killing each other in conflict, men killing men, women and children, like from the age of 1 right up to 80, 90, they were just wiping out they were actually just wiping out a generation, a whole race, you know what I mean? And they were getting allowed to do it. How can people be turned that much to be able to let that happen? You know what I mean? It was actually funny, the year we done it, it was don't stand by. See, if you see somebody doing something wrong or you see something happening, don't let it happen. Fucking do your part. Stand up and say, hold on a minute, this isn't right. No, don't let things like that happen, you know what I mean? Like, how do them people...
And then now, with what's happening in the Middle East currently, like, I mean...
It's crazy, scary. It's...
And we are standing back and watching it, and it's like, when is there a ceasefire going to be called, or how can we protect these people?
Yep. I think, see, to be honest, I believe, when I got... I'll get on to that at the minute, but I had a spiritual change in jail, and the message... A spiritual change.
Okay.
And the message I got was like, we're in the end of days. We're living in the end of days, like, and I became a Christian, so I read the Bible and whatever else, but it actually states in the Bible, it's like explains what's happening in the world today, and it's only the start. It's only going to get worse, like. So it is. Unfortunately, it's scary.
Were you not a Christian before?
No, I was not. I worked for the devil for years. I called myself a Protestant, but I wasn't. I didn't go to church. No.
Okay.
That's, you get all these paramilitaries going, I'm a Protestant, I'm a Catholic. If you're a Protestant or Catholic, you'll be killing each other. You'll be loving each other, and you'll be no one went to church. No, none of them believe in God. Half of them don't believe in God. You know what I mean? It's nothing to do with religion. The troubles were to do with territory. So they were, and land, so they were. But if you actually go into the history of Ireland, and then you start to learn, even before Christianity was in Ireland, men used to get sacrificed for the god of Earth. No, we have always killed people in Ireland for land. You know what I mean? It's part of us. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So over the years, it's just been the same old crap. But then, that's what I said. So done that Holocaust exhibition, and then one night I was sitting watching a film, It was about a dog, and the dog died, and I had a tear run down my cheek, and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with me? No, what's going on here? I was like, why is this happening? I felt so weird. But it was my heart starting to come back to normal. It was me starting to feel emotion again and hang, which actually makes things a lot harder, because before you'd hit me with an RPG and I wouldn't even annoy me, it wouldn't have bothered me, I laughed at you. But see now, because you actually care about people and you give a fuck about what's going on in the world, it fucking hurts whenever you see the state it's in, the way people get on. It actually hurts, you know what I mean? So it does. So to me, it feels like you're weak. No, because you feel emotion, you feel pain, and it hurts you. You know what I mean?
And you think that's a weakness?
Yeah, well, it makes you feel no. You're actually you're easy hurt.
Yeah.
And the worst way to me, I would rather somebody beat the life out of me with a baseball bat than somebody hurt my heart. Like my partners and all, like the amount of ones who've cheated on me and stuff like that, I'd kill it. It's damages, you know what I mean? It just leaves your scar in your heart.
Yeah.
So it does, which is hard to go. Like I haven't been in a relationship in 3 years because I can't trust them. You know what I mean? My life's too mad anyway. I believe I had just better off me home.
And you've two children, don't you?
2 children, yeah. That's what I mean. I had a long-term partner stuck with me the whole way through jail, done everything. My 5-year plan getting out of jail was to have a child, settle down with her, get married, and hopefully take up art. But listen, things aren't to be. Once I got out and started, had to go back to tech and things like that. The money dried up, wasn't making a lot of money. But I was back in that lifestyle, I was making quite a lot of money. And she wanted me to give up my art, get a job, or go to tech, or give up on the tech and go back to get a job in Tesco stacking shelves. And I was like, what ambition is that? Where's that ever going to get me? So we just didn't get on. Like, me and her never even fought for the 10 years we were together, very rarely. You know what I mean? She was that easy. I was coming in throwing her a load of doors and I wonder, no. But see, when you look back, like, I was out from a Thursday night to a Monday, flat out, selling gear, out doing whatever, and didn't annoy her. So
Okay.
she didn't actually miss me. She enjoyed the money. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
she didn't bother that I was never there or I was out running about doing God knows what. I'm not a person, if I'm with somebody, I'm with somebody, I wouldn't cheat. But I could have been out going with all sorts of girls who were doing whatever. No, she didn't care. I was out all week. Half the week,
Okay.
running about, selling gear and doing all sorts. You know what I mean? So you learn. But it wasn't to be. So I ended up having to walk away from that. And it broke my heart. Don't get me wrong. It hurt. Like, I was with that girl 10 years. I planned to marry her. I planned to settle down with her. And then we had a child together. That was my dream come true. So I thought, you know what I mean? I thought everything was going to be good, and then it didn't work out. But things just happen for a reason, and then you have to look back. You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong, the lovely girl done it. I send her messages all the time. I love nothing more in this world than me and her be able to work together for the sake of the child. With my other partner, who I met, just had a sort of met her in a bad time. My dad died with cancer. Wasn't getting to see my son. Ended up sniffing about 7 grams worth of coke after my dad died for the first 6 months just to deal with it. That was my way of coping with it. And that's whenever I was with her. So me and her were sitting sniffing gear and sleeping each other. And then they ended up, she told me she couldn't have kids to start. But then the day I was going back to court, before I got out of jail, I was caught with 2 ounces of cannabis and 10 tablets. About 6 weeks before I was getting out. And I got an outside charge. It didn't do me an inside charge, so I got an outside charge. So I knew I was going back to court. And I was going back to court on drug charges before I even got out of prison. I thought I was screwed. I was like, I'm going away for life here. I'm screwed. So I was packing my suitcase, getting ready to go to court. She goes in and goes, I have something to tell you. And I say, she goes, I'm pregnant. I was like, fuck's sake. Yeah, having a laugh. And then I went down to court and I didn't even get sent to jail. I was like, fuck's sake, can't even get a break. But it was actually funny. Like, it was a high court judge. I walked in and was talking away there, and she says, this is a significant case. She says, you should be going to jail for a long, long time. But she says, because it's went on for so long, it took 2 years to come up. She says, with your actions and what you've been doing since you've released jail, I'm not going to send you back because it's only going to damage. No, I don't want to disrupt you the way you're going. And I was actually in tech at the time. So she actually says to me, I've been online looking at your artwork and it's brilliant. She says, you should have the RUA competition. I was like, fuck, happy days. And then she said, well, I got a 3-year suspended sentence and a fine or something like that. But I should have got probably, well, the amount of time I got for the drugs that I was caught with, which is completely mental, I probably should have got the book through. I've been locked up for a long, long time. You know what I mean? So it just shows you what the power of art has achieved in my life and others, you know what I mean? So I'm a living witness about what art can do. So I got out, done that there. So as soon as I got out, I enrolled in a foundation diploma in art and design. So I got out of jail one week on a Tuesday, and the next Monday I enrolled in a foundation diploma in art. But it was a good thing. Don't get me wrong, it blew my mind. I was walking in, there's all these people, and I was like, because when you're in jail, you sort of get used to the ones in jail. You don't really see many other outsiders, apart from the screws and your inmates, and going into tech with a whole lot of young people and older people, all these people running about, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Right? And then it turned out, sorry, man, like, I'm terrible with words, sorry.
That's okay.
And then it turned out, it ended up, it was brilliant, because I think it gave me the focus and the concentration where it didn't let life take over and get back into my old ways. Like, I was determined I wasn't going to go back to jail. Well, you can't say you'll never end up back in jail. I wouldn't say that, because you never know what's going to happen. Like, see if something happened to my mum or so, you just, listen, you don't know. You don't know. I've lived that life. And if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. There's a lot of people out there who hate me with a passion. And someday I might get clipped. Listen, you just don't know. You know what I mean? But you just have to get on.
You're very pragmatic about all this.
Fuck, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not worried to die. I've never have been, never will be. But I actually look forward to dying now I'm a Christian, because I know I'm going to a better place. So I can bring it on. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. So to be honest, it don't annoy me.
And you see your children?
I was seeing one there recently, and then because I was working, I couldn't take my son. She fell out with me because she wanted to go out for a meal, but I was working at 8 o'clock at night, couldn't have it, so she cannot see them both of them again. That's the way it goes. That's other person. So I haven't seen him. She took him out of my life for 2 years. So she did, and that's when I was at my lowest point in my life. Went through them 2 relationships that didn't work out. I had 2 children, which I always wanted, like, see my kids. I love them with all my heart, love everything. That's what my main drive, but that's probably why I'm still alive, because of my children and my art. So get through them relationships. Ended up meeting a wee girl just before COVID. Everything was brilliant going along. She actually tried to touch her Stu, my mate here. No, he's a good friend of mine.
No one knows. No one knows. We have a guest. We have a guest here with us.
Yeah, Stuart's a good friend.
Stuart has not spoken at all on the podcast yet, but he is a friend that met Stephen just in January of 2023, and does a lot for him. So we'll be getting his take on a few things since he's known Stephen. But so you met another girl then before COVID?
Girl, and I
that's why you call them wee girls.
I was going with another girl, and it's just beautiful looking, lovely looking girl, really educated, good job. I thought, touch lucky here, no, sweet, no, at least she's not a rocket, no. And then it was after COVID, and then once COVID ended and I started going back to work and all, things started getting complicated. She thought it was on somewhere else. She didn't, no trust. I don't know whatever had happened in her previous life or whatever, that she obviously, there was trust issues. Don't know why. That's one thing. I'm a loyalist. I'm loyal to people I with. You know what I mean? I hate that. I think it's the most disrespectful thing you can do to someone's cheating on them. If you're not happy and you want to be with somebody else, leave them. Don't go and do that. You know what I mean? But that's the way it is. But things went bad with her. And then one day she accused me of messaging wee girls, because I give her my phone to send somebody a message to a portrait, and the message was from a wee girl, a good friend of mine, Sarah, a good friend of Stu's too, and she had sent me a message with one kiss on it, and I sent a message back with one kiss. It was before me and her really met, and she went nuts with it. So we ended up, she wouldn't let me out of the house, so I started to get red. If I started to lose my temper, I leave. I don't like losing my temper, because I have a dark side, which doesn't really come out. It's not there as much as it used to be. But when I used to crack, I used to be bad. No, people have told me my eyes go black. I don't know, because I've never witnessed it, but people say when I lose my plot, my eyes go jet black. And I just lose it. I hate that feeling. I don't like that feeling. I'm never going to feel it again. But I knew it was starting to get annoyed, and I was like, I'm getting out of here before something happens. So I tried to leave, and she wouldn't let me leave, so I lifted her. She's only tiny. I lifted her and went to move her, and she started punching the head out. But she hit me with, I must have been her phone, and she left a cut in my eye. And then I put her on the sofa. Now I actually held her down with force, but I was trying to stop her, calm her down. And see, as soon as she stopped struggling, let go of her. I was like, I'm not going to fight with you. I've had enough, that's it. And I walked out of the house. I went to my studio, because I didn't want to go home to my mum. I went to the studio, and used to be in Bangor. And a paramilitary leader phoned me, and he was like, what's the crack, you and your woman? And I was like,
who phoned you, sorry?
A paramilitary leader.
Oh, right.
So it was, I'm not going to say, I can't say his name, but
no.
She turned around, he says, what's the crack with you and her? And I was like, numb, why? And I was like, are you being serious? What are you ringing me for? No, it's nothing to do with him because it's domestic. Anyway, but he says she's been on the phone making accusations that you headbutt her twice and beat her up. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I explained what happened. And he was like, she's not just, stay away from her. So I thought that, but see, when he said that, I photographed my eye. For some reason, just photographed my eye. And then 2 weeks later, the police called the door, bang, lifted for assault. Took up to Musgrave Peeler Station, stuck in a cell. And I just thought to myself, after all the things I'm doing, of all the good I've tried, I'm lying back in square one. I was like, I was just fed up. And to be honest, it broke me. I got released on bail. I drove past her one night, going to get a Chinese, didn't even do anything. She went to the police the next day and says that I tried to drive in there at high speed and then turned all this crap. I got arrested again for breaking my mouth. Even the police were saying to me, they looked at the CCTV footage, Jeepers Friday, and she was like, you didn't do anything. So they threw it out, but it still took me to court. And then the judge threw it out, says, a load of crap. But that, see, to be honest, that was, for me, I was justified. I proved that I didn't do anything, you know what I mean? And it was a lot, because I hate, see, you being accused of beating a woman too, that's not my crack, you know what I mean? I don't know what I mean, but anyway, it is what it is. But see, the last 6 months before that court case, I was praying every night to die. I just didn't want to be here. I was just fed up. I was like, wasn't getting to see my 2 sons. I'd done as much good as I possibly could up to that date, and there I was still being treated like a prisoner. No matter, and I was like, you know what? You'll never lose that label. See, any time something happens, you're an ex-prisoner, you're a scumbag. That's the way you're treated. So I was low point, really low point in my life, and I'd just given up. I'd loved my life. I'd lived a brilliant life. Yes, I was wrong what I was doing, but see, I'm not going to deny it. I had a good time. I enjoyed myself. I was running about, making fun with my mates, doing this, doing that, and enjoying life. Yes, you had that shit side of it too. No matter bad how things get, you always try and make, being in jail. Some of the best nights of my life were in jail. I really had
really?
Some crack and
Is it just partying and drugs though?
Well, see, when we had some forgery, when the Euros were on, Northern Ireland, I'm a big Northern Ireland fan, I knew we were going to qualify for the Euros. I said to all my mates, and they're like, you're nuts. And I said, I'm going to jail. I guarantee you we end up at the Euros. And they did. I was waiting, but we had a couple of mobiles, which you're not meant to have, but we did. And I phoned my mate in France, and he says, where are you? He says, sounds like you're having a better time than we are over here. He says, I thought you were in jail. I was like, oh. Even the screws come in the next day, and they're like, what the fuck were you doing last night? We could hear you in the main jail. And he's like, knocking the head. But the night I go back to so we had some mad nights in jail, but you make the most of it. See, like the Organ, we used to come down, boys doing life, boys doing serious crime, boys serious. Used to stick the tunes on up full well, dancing about, enjoying it. It was a release. It wasn't like being in prison, you know what I mean? And that's what got me through. Is there aggression
between prisoners though as well? Is it scary? And is there assaults I've
been through it. You have to do something, you have to do it. If you have to stand your ground, you stand your ground, you know what I mean? Yeah. And there's nothing I wouldn't have done. No, if something needed done, you know what I mean? There's some nasty things happen, you know what I mean? But that's hard life. If you don't defend yourself, you're screwed. Yeah. And if you don't have balls to do something, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what happens. Like, you're up against it. If people are going to try and do you have to act first. You have to think for it. It was just a mad, crazy life. I didn't realize. See, when you're in that life, you see black and white. See, if you have an issue or a problem, you deal with that problem. You just do your thing. You know what I mean? You do not see him, but in your head, you're justified. You think you're doing the right thing, but you don't see grey. No, it's only till now that I've actually got away from that life and I've come out of it. Looking back, I can understand it for what it is. Them people, what they're doing, they don't actually realise what they're doing. They don't know they're doing wrong. They think they're right. No, in your head, that's right. You know what I mean? And like, if somebody loses their life, they lose it for a reason. No, it's not like you don't go and whack somebody for a call. If somebody gets shot, they get shot for something. No, you don't get clipped for no, especially to being shot. No, that's a serious. You would have had to have done something bad to be clipped. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong.
Are you talking the inside or the outside?
Outside.
Okay.
No, but inside, like, I only had 3 fights the whole time I was in. To be honest, I don't like fighting. I'd rather get on with people. But if somebody you're making it easier, or somebody's trying to take advantage or think you're going to get in there, you have to defend yourself.
Yeah.
So I've ever had 3 fights, like, so to be honest, and it's just a fight, you know what I mean? So
yeah. But how are prisoners, like, do prisoners just have to defend themselves against, like, say, physical or sexual assault?
No. I see all that. You don't get sexual. I've never witnessed. I've done 6 years, and now don't get me wrong. One day there was we were in a wing and the night screw was walking down. We were hearing these noises, wondering what the fuck. And the screw lifted the flap and he's like, what the fuck are you two, the two dirty bastards doing? And the two of them were obviously, I think we were obviously different battle for a different side. No, but the two of them were in bed together and the screw went mad at the alarm and ended up getting the head butt. And then just come in and trailed them out by a scruff. But that's the only sort of thing I ever come up across against that. But see, people would watch documentaries and things about and films about jail and they get this thing in their head. See, to be honest, see if you go in, you keep your head down, you treat people with respect, you're not getting any shit. But don't get me wrong, some people would be bullies and if they see a weakness in you, they would try and use it. But then if you stand up for yourself, they'll leave you alone. You know what I mean? So, but most people get on, like, even if you go in, you're a Protestant, you're a Catholic, that's left at the door. That religion doesn't get brought into it. No, you have to live together. You have to get on. Mm-hmm. So you try and make the most of it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're all under the same roof. You're all doing the same time. No, you try and make it fucking as easy as possible. You know what I mean?
And you know the way there was the 23-hour. Where was that? You were
23-hour lockup. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing in those 23 hours?
Well, that's how I started drawing. But see, to be honest, see to get through jail, you need to be mentally strong too. Like, see when you go in through the first door, see as soon as you go into jail, you're stripped completely naked in front of about 3 or 4 screws, 5 screws. They go through every inch of your body to describe what tattoos, what scars, I'm covered in tattoos, so it took them ages.
You are. I'm looking at
if I go in now, they'll be fucking going through a amount of scar. I'm like Frankenstein's monster now. But so you go through all that stuff, but no, the screws go through. You get a shower. You're stripped naked. They go through every inch of your body. Every bit of dignity you own, every bit of pride you have, everything you have is just stripped. You're just stripped to your bare bones. You're locked in a cell. You're told when to eat. You're told when to shower. You're told when you're allowed out, and you're controlled. Everything's controlled. Like when you first go in, like you say, when you go in the committal wing, you're under lockdown for 23 hours. Straight up, the first time for the first 2-3 weeks, and then you get moved into a house, and it starts building up. And then eventually you get on. If you're lucky, you get onto a wing, which is a bit more open, and you're out. That Magilligan prison is relaxed. It's open door policy all day, so the doors are open. But your doors are open from 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning to about 7, half 7 at night. So that's you locked from half 7 at night to the next morning, and at the weekends you're locked from 4 o'clock. That's you for the rest of the day. Okay. So you're stuck in that cell for a long time. I got the way I got through it was drawing, painting. Okay. I just sat in stone, got stone and painted. I loved it. The screws off last time. He's sitting in the joint. No, just left me alone. I was just there sitting painting. But I like painting on a stone, like, to be honest. I always said I loved to paint on acid, but like Salvador Dali, but I haven't done that yet. I don't know if I will listen to this, see what happens in the future. You never know. But because it gives you a different dimension. No, see, I think it would be mental painting while you're but it's Salvador Dali. He created a lot of his paintings and his on that acid, so you can see that some of his paintings are mental. No, you look at them and you're like, what was going through his head at the time he painted that? But it would be interesting, to be honest. But see what happens. But
and with the way you mentioned there, you're colourblind. Mm-hmm. So how do you then know what the colour is going to turn out like? So it'll look different to you than it will to me.
What I do is match it up. If it has to be a certain colour, I'll like hold the red to the head. I'll hold it up. I like get the red and make sure it matches with the red. No, okay. Like the label on the thing, I'd make sure the colour I'm using is, or you even read the colour before I use it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but I've also been told that own that you're colourblind. Paint it as you see it.
Yeah.
Because it'll be completely unique and it'll be completely different to what other people say. You know what I mean? It'll be the way I be me painting from my point of view too. So
and have you done that?
Sky, a girl, the life drawn girl. It was on my documentary. It was Sky told me that a lot of my personal paintings are based on my life. So I can paint them whatever I want to. But if it's like for a commission, it has to be a certain colours. Then you would sort of worry about the paint. But if not, I just paint. I just work away. You know what I mean? Like,
and are you making money yet on your paintings?
Nah, well, it was. So went through that. Went through 3. I ended up doing 3 full-time tech courses. So I did back to back. And then I went as a self-employed artist and was working. I was doing all right. I was making enough to get by, but it's loosely worked through word of mouth. But back then, see, the problem in Northern Ireland, see, trying to make a living as an artist, you'll never do it. You need to get your name out there as an established artist before you can start seriously selling your work. But I was doing well. I was doing all right. I was getting by, making enough. And then COVID came along. And that was just everything flattened. It destroyed everything. You know what I mean? So, and then after COVID, I ended up taking seriously ill. and I went into hospital.
Why did you get seriously ill?
I was sitting in the sky, having a drink and smoking. The next thing, I started coughing up blood. Filled a pint glass full of blood, and then it was Sky's house. It was in Sky's mum's, and Sky's mum come down.
Guy, your ex-girlfriend?
No. She's the life model. She's a very good friend of mine. Like. So she says, I met her drawing her naked, to be honest, and I photographed her sometime. It's actually photographing models is a lot harder than painting them because you're looking at it in a different way. When you're photographing it, you're trying to get like a beautiful image. You're trying to catch now, so you can sort of, it's a different feeling altogether than drawing, you know, which I've noticed over the years. But no, so I ended up coughing up blood in the pint glass, and then they told me to go and get an ambulance, and I was like, I'll just go to bed and I'll be all right. So I just wanted to lie down, but I tried to lie down, but I couldn't breathe. And it was really uncomfortable. And that's when I said, fuck, I'm gonna have to get an ambulance here. So got an ambulance up to the hospital. Turned out my lungs were at 97% capacity, full of blood. Both my kidneys had died. My heart was damaged, and they told me like, you're dead. Basically, it just says you may plan your funeral. So I got Bobby Masson, that's the boy I talked about earlier, and he used to do 1 day a week in Magilligan, but he's an ex-prisoner himself. He served 3 life sentence prisoners, but he works in Elim Church now, and he used to come in to do it in our class with us. Me and him used to just talk about the old, about times, and I was telling him what I was planning on doing when I get out of jail, which was a bit mental, to be honest, but that's the only way I thought I could get back to Bangor. But he ended up getting me back. He went and spoke to the brigadier, or UDA, because he would have connections to that sort of world, and he was able to get me back home peacefully. Where in my mind, before I get saved or changed, I thought I had to get out, and there were certain people in my community who I needed to not be in my community for me to be able to return home. My girl at the time, she just wanted me to go back to Bangor. That's all she wanted. I want to go Bangor. I was like, I'm under death threat. I can't go back to Bangor. And she's like, I don't care. I want to go back. So I had to sit and plan how I could get back to Bangor. And that's the only way in my life, in my head at that time, that I thought I could get back was because people had to be removed from my community for me to get back.
As in killed?
Well, whatever. And things had to be done.
Okay.
So I sat and planned it for 2 years. And then one night in Alpha House, which is low secure wing, I took an acid trip. And I was tripping off my balls, running about like a rocket. But then I went into my cell and was lying with my head to the wall, with my back to the rib. But it felt like darkness. And I'm not talking about like dark at night. I'm talking there's nothing, emptiness. Closed around the cell, and I could feel a presence in the cell. Like I was saying earlier, when you take acid, you can feel like a spiritual, like a soul connection. And I could feel a presence in my room. I thought it was death. And I says, listen, I'm not scared to die. I says, don't do it. If you want to take me, take me. I says, I know I've done a lot of wrong, but I've always done it with good intentions. Never went out to hurt somebody, never went out to be a bad person, unless somebody done wrong to us, where we had to defend ourselves or look after our loved ones, or your ex-associates or whatever. Until then, you wouldn't react or you wouldn't do anything until something happened to you, you know what I mean? So it's like defending yourself sort of, so in your own head it was justified, even though it's wrong, completely wrong, but in that life you don't see that. So I just said to him, I'm ready to go. If you want to take me, take me. And I says, no, I've done a lot of wrong. And then I said, it sort of changed, don't I? And I says, listen, looking back, it might have been wrong. I shouldn't have done what I done. But at the end of the day, when I did do it, I had good intentions. No, I didn't. I was doing it for a reason, you know what I mean? And then it just changed, and I was like, I believe something exists, but you need to prove to me it exists. I says, I was actually thought I was firing blanks. I've been with a lot of girls and a lot of long-term relationships, but never had any children. And I was starting to panic because my surname would have died out with me because my brother's serving life imprisonment and my other cousin was cerebral palsy. He couldn't have kids. So if I didn't have a son, my name would have died out with me. And my family means a lot to me, so it does. So I turned around and I was like, I want a son and a career in art. And I says, if you give me that, I'll give up my criminality. My wee lad was conceived the second day after I got to prison. And then my art speaks for itself, to be honest. But I went through a lot of different, like, don't get me wrong, times I prayed and it was answered within minutes, within the next day. It's crazy. And I never believed in that sort of lifestyle. But looking back, I actually had the force of the evil in me. I had the devil in me. I worked for, we were called the Devil Brigade, the UFF, that was our nickname, the Devil's Brigade. No, we weren't, we were bad. And you had done whatever you had to do. I seen a lot of bad things, a lot of people getting to a lot of bad shit, which was evil. You couldn't do shit like that unless you had badness in you, you know what I mean? It's sick. See, thinking back now, you're like, is it any wonder my head was lit and I was taking so much care? No, because the amount of crap you were going through. That's trauma, you know what I mean? That has a serious impact in your head. Which to me, I'm not headstrong. I never let it annoy me. I just don't like negativity. I just keep positive, just keep going, you know what I mean? Even in the bad times, you just keep going. And then...
And are you talking about killing people there when you're talking, or are you just talking about just in general, whatever you're doing?
When you're involved in organised crime or paramilitaries, there was a lot of people, like one of the feuds, there were 16 people lost their life in one feud, and I went through 3 loyalist feuds. So there's a lot of people dying. You're going to funerals every other day. There's death all around you. There's people getting hurt. There's people getting shot. It's just mental. You know what I mean? It's war. You know what I mean? It's actually war, but it's like low scale war. It's not big. Like what's going on in the world today, but it's still war. Like like people are witnessing your community. People getting shot in the community. That's why the mental health in Northern Ireland now is mental, because we're only starting to see the effects of the Troubles. People say the Troubles ended ages ago. See the generations growing up now, they lost their families, their family members went to jail for life. We're only starting to get the impact, I believe, of the Troubles, and I think there's a lot more to come. You know what I mean? Because people during the Troubles, it was drummed into you, you don't talk. You talk to no one, you don't talk. You keep everything to yourself, you don't talk about nothing. That's the worst information you can receive. If you're suffering from mental health or something, you need to talk. You need to open up, and you need help. You need to speak to people. See, when you're being drubbed into your head, you don't talk. Is there any wonder amount of people killing themselves up in Northern Ireland? It's mad. But that was the way the Troubles were, like, especially in the nationalist area. Like, if you spoke in the nationalist area, you'd have been took away and you'd have been butchered, you know what I mean? They were serious against informants and touts, like, even though half of them were a couple were working for the force. It just shows you how mad it is when it all comes out. But I done a painting called What Was It All For? And it's me wearing a balaclava with tears coming down.
I saw it.
And that explains it all. It was the biggest load of shit. For what? Amount of men who give their lives, amount of men who went through shit. For what? Know what I mean? We're better off working together. Know what I mean? So we're the same people, we believe in the same God, but yet we're killing each other. It just doesn't make sense. It's just so mad, know what I mean? But that's just the way it was. But that's why I try and benefit people. Like, I've done a couple of community projects with the police. It's funny, police phoned me one day. They said they want to talk to you, and I was like, police phoned me, and I was like, what do you want? I thought I was going for questioning. They were like, would you fancy doing our project? I was like, fuck, I get on the water. So we've done a community project in Bangor Food Bank, and done a big wall mural with local kids from the community, and then we've done one in Hollywood too, and it went really, really well, and it was brilliant. Know what I mean? And then, like I say, and then done a wee project in Highbank. I was just before I met Stu. It would have been Christmas what year were we in? 13. It would have been last year, just before last year. Done a project with just a one-on-one with a fella in Highbank who was really struggling. He was tried to kill himself 4 times. Anytime he get into general population, he was fighting, he was hitting screws, he was just making life hard for himself. And they asked me would I do a project with him. So I went in and done it. I just said to him, listen, I says, you're a young kid, you're running up. I know it's all about ego and trying to make a name for yourself, trying to make you look like a big lad. I said, see, the only person you're hurting is your family and you. I said, because you're in the block that many times, your family can't come up and see you. You're just hurting yourself. I says, see, at the end of the day, you punch a screw, you're getting them 6 months off work, and then they're getting a big claim. I was like, they're laughing. I says, they're laughing at you. You're the ones who's getting locked up behind the door. I says, you've got 2 choices. You either do it the hard way, which you're doing, or you do it the easy way. You just learn to get on. You do what you do. You get into general population. Just play the game. Just do what you have to do to get through. And you'll benefit from it. And started drumming and done the wee project. He done brilliant. Done a really well job. And then it was after I got out, I didn't get back into Highbank because that's when I had a transplant. Because I was actually meant to go in and back in after Christmas. But I got a phone call on the 6th of January to go to have a transplant, so I didn't get back in. I'll talk about that, and I'll go back to that because about my health. But so I done the project, but I was talking to one of the governors, and he turns around to me and he says, "What did you say to that wee man?" And I said, "I'm not telling you." Between me and him. And he's like, "No, not like that, not like that." He was like, "What?" I says, "Whatever you've done with him." He says, "The wee lad's back in general population. He's keeping his head down. He's doing really well, and he's getting on with things." And I was like, to me, it was like, it was what I wanted to sell out to achieve. Fuck, I'm starting. It was what I wanted to do.
But isn't it?
Yeah. No, I speak from the heart.
But you know what, isn't it? And that emotion, of course, you're going to feel that.
Yeah.
But if you just change one person's life.
That's what I
Isn't
always
that all?
said. That's what I said when I left jail. If I can make a difference in one person's life, to me, it's a job worth doing. Hopefully, I make a change in a lot more life. But listen, there's nothing special about me. I just do what I do. I'm a rocket from no banker. I just draw and paint. You know what I mean? I don't think I just do what I do. And like I say, so I took ill, went in, put into a coma, told you're dead, basically, not going to survive. Woke up out of the coma with the breathing tube stuck in my mouth. And it was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. Your woman ripped it out of my throat. As soon as I woke up, she pulled it in, and I was like, I don't ever want to go through that again. I was like, see, if I have to be put under resurrection, just let me die. I don't want that. So so it ended up, it was after, done the court case, with got my name cleared. The next day, I collapsed, my body gave up, because I'd give up. It was the first time in my life I'd give up. I didn't want to be here. I'm going to get emotional talking about this. I was in the hospital, in the bed, and Bobby Malson come in to plan the funeral, and I was like, Bobby, I'm fucking sweet. I was like, I'm happy to die. I've been praying for months to die. He's answering my prayer, and Bobby was like, well, that's one prayer he better not answer. He says, you need to wise up. But I was happy to go. I had happy with the life I've led. I'd done whatever I'd done. Wasn't seeing my kid. I was just fed up. Just didn't want to be here, and I was just like, I'm better off dead. So Bobby came in. He would plan my funeral. I had to phone paramilitary members to tell them, under no circumstances do you put UFF flags or UDA flags in my coffin, or do you turn up in my uniform. I says, if you do, I'll come back and I'll hunt every single one of you. I says, don't put that in my mat. I says, the only thing, I'll take a single paper, I'd lead in the coffin, and an Ulster flag, if a flag at all. And I says, that's the way it's going to be. I says, don't disrespect my wishes and turn up the uniforms, because at the end of the day, I don't belong to these anymore. You know what I mean? They still sort of sometimes would maybe say, think that you're one of the... I could put expelled from the UDA back in friggin' 2009. I haven't been involved in them ever since. I was disbanded, so I'm not don't belong to them. You know what I mean? Thank God, it was the best thing around there. But so I was in lying down, and I'd give up, and I got a message on my phone from a person who would know me very, very well from my background. This boy's a bit of an operator himself. High-ranking member of an organisation sent me a message, and I read the message, and it blew me away. He turns around and says, you can't die. And he doesn't even mind me saying it. He'll know. I'm not going to mention his name, but he'll know if he listens to this I'm talking about. And he's a very, very good friend of mine. You know what I mean? Yes, he's still in, but he's actually starting to see different things. But he sent me a message saying, you can't die, you can't give up, you need to fight. He says, I have to hear your testimony before you die, because I'm starting to see things from the way you are. And a person from my background who knows my crack, not many people, like lifelong friends of mine, didn't even know I was anything, because that was a separate life. The people who needed to know knew, the people who didn't know weren't told. Seeing that message from that person, it blew my mind, but then it gave me the fight, and it made me fight, and see if I get that message, I'd be dead. I wouldn't have fought. So I actually owe him a lot, because without his message, I'd given up. For the first time in my life, I'd given up, but then getting that message, I thought, fuck, if I'm making a difference in his life, who else's life can I make a difference in? Because this boy's been through the wars, you know what I mean? So I was like, trying to get my head around it. I was like, what? To me, it was mental, you know what I mean? I was like, no way. But it gave me the fight. I woke up earlier, look, we had pulled it out. It was mental. And then the next day I was sitting drawing for the nurses. So I told them I'd done art and all, blah, blah. Some lovely people, nurses, looked after me in the ICU. And actually started drawing for them. And the specialist came in. I said, John, I think I actually have to finish it for it, because I never got around it. Allison Wonderland, drawing for the wee girl, one of the nurses. Sorry, I have wild reflux. And then she came in, and the specialist came in, and I knew looking at his face, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. And I was like, what's wrong with you? And he was like, how are you doing that? And I was like, easy, I'm going like that. And he was like, how are you even talking? Setting up. He says, I left you 2 days ago. He says, I had you down papers dead. He says, we never thought you would recover. Like, we didn't even know how you were breathing. Your lungs were that filled with blood, but you were drowning in your own blood. That's why I was called. Every time I took a breath, you could hear it rumbling. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it says you should be dead. But then I was in wild pain. See, I was in agony. and my legs were spasming and like folded over like that and like stretching. I thought I was going to snap my own legs, and I couldn't control it, couldn't stop it. And I was like, why have you forsaken me? Why have you left me like this? And I got an image of Jesus Christ on a cross, and it was like, I don't hear voices. I get like thoughts coming into my head, and that's the way I communicate with. Listen, it's a personal thing. I don't knock it out. This is what happened to me. This is my personal change in my life, and it was this thought came into my head. It was like, you think of Jesus. Look at the life he led. He done nothing wrong. He told the truth about who he was and what he was doing, and he was given the most brutal, nastiest death that you could ever imagine or wish on anybody. Like, he was beaten to a pub, dragged through the streets, carrying his own cross, and then nailed to a coffin or a cross. It's crucified is the worst death you can experience. You know what I mean? And it was like, think of what he went through for you. And he said, look at the life you've led. Is it any wonder your state you're in? Now fucking pull your socks up and get on it. And the pain was gone in 10, 15 minutes. Well, about 15 minutes to half an hour. I was completely pain-free. Gone. And I felt a lot better. But that was my introduction to kidney dialysis. So I had these net wires sticking out of my neck. And I looked in the mirror, I was like, fuck, what the fuck? No, there's blood no pouring on me. And then I was hungry, but my taste buds were all funny. I had sweet and sour chicken that tasted like raw vinegar, and that was one of my favourite things. Like, what's going on? I can't even eat my favourite food. So I walked to McDonald's to get two hot apple pies, but I walked out of the ICU and told them I was going for a dander, and dandered down to the local McDonald's, got to your woman behind the counter. She was looking at me like it was two heads, but I forgot about the wire sticking out of the neck, the blood poured out of it. It took me near 2 hours to get to McDonald's back. It's only across the road in Dundalk. It took me trying to get back up the hill. I had to keep stopping and stuff. Thought I was going to keel over, to be honest. But I got there, like, and the apple pies were great. No, so got back in the ICU, and then just kept going. And the specialist turns around and he says, I've worked here 35 years. He says, I've never seen anybody turn the ICU into an art department. They give me the OB station all the job. But they've done a painting for him, which I gave him if they needed to, saying thank you, just because I'm skint. No, I don't have that much money at the minute. Hopefully things change and it builds up. But that's the enjoyment. I don't care about money. I love doing what I do. See the sense of enjoyment. See, for me, see if I do somebody a piece of work and I give it to him, see the look in their face or that reaction. You can't buy that. It's priceless. To me, it means the world to me. I would love to be able to do my art and just give it to everybody, but unfortunately the way things is, you need to make a living to survive.
You probably shouldn't give too much away, though.
No. But the way things are going, it's taking on. Listen, takes time to build up and get on, but and your story to get out there and what you're actually trying to achieve and what you're trying to do. Things like this, that's just another, I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking me on and giving me the time.
No, it's a pleasure. But what I want to talk to you about is was it your first stint in hospital that put you on the kidney dialysis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So got the dialysis, and then being in kidney dialysis, I wouldn't wish anybody, right? So I had the ones coming out of my neck, and then they put the neckline in. So you'll see the scars from my neck. There's one there,
I do. I'm looking at them now.
There. The drawing I done for the secret artist shows you the wires coming out, because that's when I drew that was actually on kidney dialysis, and then. Here, put your hand on that. Just see the way my hand is.
Oh,
put your hand across.
Oh God, I can't. What's that?
I call it a secret weapon, but
what is it?
But it's.
I'm after touching his bicep. He's got a big lump on his bicep, but it's like a soft lump.
They slice your arm there, and they take your main artery out, and they get a vein. They tie the vein to the main artery, and it creates a super vein. You'll see all the scars. See all the scars down there.
Oh, yeah.
Where they pin it.
But sure, it's covered in tats, so it looks part of the tat.
I know. But that's how they ended up putting that in, to take your blood out, because it's a lot healthier, it's a lot cleaner way. Because the wires, I used to have to wear a pouch to get a shower. Couldn't go swimming, couldn't do anything. Because if that got infected, it was directly into your heart. I thought it was just an neckline until I pulled it out, and it was freaking about the all there. I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, that goes directly into your heart. And I was like, no, what I mean? So if that got infected, you're dead straight away, because the infection would be straight into your heart. So you had to be really, really careful of it. And then I used to have a wee joke, but I used to say I was going to stick my wires in the drink and all. Just joking around.
You've compared dialysis to being in prison, and that's why you work with the kidney dialysis people, don't you?
It's mad, because everything happens for a reason. So I was just sitting in the dialysis one day, and I seen a sign. It's actually that. That's a really large script badge, and that's a badge to represent person who died to give me the transplant. They're actually from Cork. Don't know anything about them, but apart from there's a woman that's roughly the same age as me, and she's from Cork. But I'm waiting to the year anniversary, and I'm going to write a letter to the family just to say thank you and hopefully make them proud for what I'm doing and trying to achieve, that they actually feel that the kidney was passed on. Hopefully it gives them a bit of happiness out of such a sad
Closure even,
thing.
maybe,
Yeah. But and just send them a letter just thanking them for the gift of life. Not even the gift of life, the gift of living life. Because when you're on dialysis, you're only surviving. They're just keeping you alive. You're not living at all. But
and why is that? Because people wouldn't understand.
It destroys you, right? So I was in every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 4 hours at a time. You're strapped to a machine by your arm. Like there's wires coming out of your arm or out of your neck going to a machine, which takes all your blood out of your body. It's a machine. The machine's a kidney. It's a mechanical kidney. So it takes all your blood out. It cleans your blood and takes the toxins out, because I couldn't create urine for 2 years. I couldn't go to the toilet for 2 years. So they put the blood back into your body once it's cleaned, but you get really cold, and then you get some people get side effects. I got them all. You get restless leg syndrome, where you're trying to sleep and your legs think you're in a nightclub jumping about like nuts, and you can't stop it.
You're not even on drugs, Steve.
No. And you get the shin splints. You get cramps in your legs because sometimes they take too much fluid out of your body, you're bone dry. And it fucking hurts. That really, really hurts.
Where does it hurt?
Your bones. It feels like somebody's hammering a nail through your legs. That's the sort of pain I get. It's just nasty, And my teeth. I used to be brushing my teeth. My teeth were falling. And I hate. It's a part that could say it is. At the end of the day, it's just your fucking teeth. You get new ones, you know what I mean? But see, when you're sitting brushing your teeth and they're spitting your teeth out and all, it's like a worst nightmare comes true, you know what I mean? And I've had people knock me because of my teeth and all that thing. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I went through what I went through. I see my teeth, you'll get new ones. You know what I mean? And what I'm trying to do is more important than looking like you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter what you look like, it's what you're doing. You know what I mean? So while I was on dialysis, your body just is destroyed. You end up like a zombie. And it's scary. You wouldn't wish dialysis on your worst enemy. Like, it's nasty. Because people told you're too old or you're too ill, you're not getting a transplant. Basically, just you're on dialysis the rest of your life. And that's what I find hard, like. But while I was on dialysis, I seen that sign. I was like, renal arts group. I said, I might as well join now.
Renal arts group.
Renal arts group. So I joined the renal arts group, and then along with Queen's University. It's more or less based from people from Queen's University, but there's a lot of also the transplant recipients who do art. There's musicians. There's painters. There's creative writers. There's art covers so many different genres. There's so much of it, and it's brilliant for mental health. See if you can get involved in the arts in some way, shape, or form. It can be life changing, which I'm living proof of. But so I joined the Renal Arts Group, and then after a while, I became the co-chair of the Renal Arts Group, and now I got a role being an honorary lecturer in Queen's University.
Jesus, you don't do things by halves, do you? Like, literally,
I have to pinch myself some days. I'm like, what the fuck going on? Am I dreaming or what?
I think there's a film in you, and there's also a book in you, and there's a documentary. Like, I mean, I think we could do so much with this.
I've had a couple of 2 documentaries out now of the Secret Artist. It's on BBC One on BBC iPlayer, and the recent documentary Art Behind Bars is out on the BBC iPlayer. Secret Artist was the first sort of thing. It was 5 artists from Northern Ireland, and we'd done work for the RUA, the RUA competition. And because my story, but it's only a wee clip because it was an hour long, but there's only like 15 minutes between each person. But a lot of people, it was like a wee tester into my background, my story. And so I think there's that much feedback about it. They've done one. Yes, maybe it is sort of mainly me, but it's not about me. It's about the power of art. And what art can do, and that it can change lives. I'm just a person who was lucky enough to be blessed by God to have a talent. You know what I mean? There's nothing special about me. You know what I mean? I just like to give back for if somebody does you good, you do good back. But not even that. They don't even have to try and treat people with respect. And it doesn't hurt. See the feeling you get. See if somebody needs help and you go and help them. Which, like, this is where Stu starts coming in. Like, because whenever I was going through my illness, Stu done so much for me and my mum. We couldn't walk. When I was on dialysis, my mum ended up, she had to get her bowel removed, so she did. And first of all, her bowel burst, and she was seriously ill. Both of us were seriously ill, and we couldn't do anything. Stu would have took me out and drive with me.
And Stuart, how did you meet Stephen?
Well, I would say probably coming back last September, really, maybe like 2022.
Yeah.
My life also last year also fell apart. Lost my house and all that sort of stuff, and family and that. But this year, he's helped me, essentially, build back up a bit of confidence and get back out and about.
And is that through art he's done that, or just by being there?
I don't really know anything about art. No, the one thing I can say is, our friendship from September through to December was, just seeing each other and crossing here and there. And like, I was probably in a bit of a spot of money coming up to Christmas last year, and I didn't really know what I was going to get from my daughter or how I was going to do it. But Stephen actually he did 3 like almost life-size Disney princesses on a spare room in my house. Because I was about the only thing that I could really kind of muster up was just trying to make a wee playroom just for my wee one. But and that was probably, that he's no idea how much that meant at that time. But from then you've had, we then, we've got a good friendship now, and was helping you through your kidney stuff, and hearing your stories.
It's all mad ones.
It's like,
Sitting through to our podcast.
It's helped me out a lot. You've given me little things to do, helping you out with your exhibitions, and just I want to try and help you get organised to start doing something with your art as well. But no, as my mum would say, you're an inspiration. As she says, non-stop,
But
to come out of it all the way that you have, know.
But it just shows too, because like without Stu, like we couldn't do. I couldn't walk. I couldn't drive. No, he done. Doesn't even realise how much he done for me too. Like. But we had the big first time I see Stu had like a tester for an exhibition was we had Art Centre up in Belfast, and it was to the opening night was their long list with late night art, so it's Thursday in the month. But Stu and an army, Paul, and they done the bar. Got the bar set up, done everything. They run the place, you know what I mean? And I went like clockwork, and it was brilliant. And see, the exhibition wouldn't have been what it was without them. Like, so I owe him a little. But my plan is I need help. As this is starting to pick up steam and getting busy, I'm flat out. No, I want to be sitting in the house painting, John. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I love doing talking and love doing things like that. But see, there's like social media side of it, like arranging events and stuff like that. I need somebody like Stu or other people maybe to come along. My adventure idea, I want a gallery. I want a gallery with my work on display, you know what I mean? I also want an exhibition in Dublin.
I'm just wondering, actually, I was at Art Source yesterday. It was on all weekend. It was many artists coming to the RDS. And okay, I love art.
Yeah,
I can't draw. Now, I'm one of those people that says, I can't draw, but I actually can't, okay? And I just really appreciate artists for what they are. And and do you know what it is as well? It's like, you know the way when you look at a painting, whether it's abstract or whether it's a portrait, and you see something different to the next person. I just think, and it's so you can just interpret it yourself. So you're looking for an exhibition in Dublin, are you? Now listen, we are putting it out there right now. Anyone who has any interest or knows anyone that could set this up, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, much appreciated. Well, you never know. Listen, just keep going. I just take it. See, every day I open my eyes, it's a blessing. I'm like, I'm still alive.
Do you have to take a lot of drugs because of the kidney transplant?
Well, yeah. Anti-rejection drugs, blood trap, but there's not. It's not just kidney problem. My heart's dodgy. I'm lucky to be alive. I just shouldn't be here, to be honest. I should be ruled off. But so the first time, that's what I was telling you. So it was on to Alice's, joined the really large group, coming up the 17th of December 2021, when I would have knew you know, like, and I went up, but I didn't know him that well. Me and him became friends. After I'd done that painting for him, me and him started getting closer. I can advise him because I've life experience, you know what I mean? Where Stu was in a hard time, but it just shows you. Sometimes people come together when they need each other, and he met a certain group of people at a certain time. Some of us might be just, they don't, you know what I mean? But they're good people, and they help, and they've got him through what they've got him through. So you have to give them respect. It just shows you, no matter what walk of life for somebody, you can't judge somebody. See, at the end of the day, there's still a lot of good people who might do dodgy, that different thing. But it is what it is. But we all come together, and we were able to help Stu because he was going through a hard time. He'd lost a lot of his. He'd fallen out with family. He'd fallen out with him. He lost a lot of his family and stuff. We were able to help him and advise him, and he's flourishing. See now, I seen him the other day. I walked in. He was sitting in a house with Sarah, our mate, and see the smile on his face. I filled my heart with joy because you've seen him struggling. And I hate seeing people struggle. Don't like people going through shit. So if I can advise or give my advice to anyone, I'll help anyone. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're just giving advice. But if it helps and if it can benefit, but it also benefits him because he can come on board with me and he can do what I need him to do to generate the business because it'll help him too. Plus, it'll help me in a big, big, big way.
Yeah, you definitely need someone, don't you? You were saying about being a PA or something like that.
I think everybody needs, some people close about it. It's not very nice to be feeling like you're on your own. You've got,
take a lot of stress off too because certain people in my life don't understand how much effort and time goes into setting an exhibition up. It's and a lot of stress and a lot of difficult. And don't get me, I got out of prison in 2016. I think I've been involved with 17 exhibitions to date. I've exhibited in London. I've exhibited in Dublin, but it was just one piece and joint with Tom Short, he's like prison arts equivalent down here, where he's in charge of all the art in 13 prisons. I don't know how my head would go, but he's a brilliant, brilliant fella. He's seen my painting of me playing Death, a Game of Chess, a Game of Life it's called, which is based on my life. It's a negative and positive influences playing each other, a game of chess. But he seen that piece and he was just like, whoa. And he was like, that's bad. He came back to it 3 times and he was talking. He says to me, I'm going to have you in Dublin. And I was like, aye, dead on. So, you know what I mean? Lots of people promise you Earth, Moon and Stars, but there's not very many people pull through with their promise. But Tom ended up, he phoned me one day and he'd done the Unlock exhibition in Kilmainham Prison and Eddie Cahill was exhibiting. So I ended up exhibiting alongside Eddie Cahill. I didn't know who he was when I met him, and if I did, I would have been talking to him for hours to find out some story because that man would have some stories, let me tell you. But no, it's a pleasure to see him exhibiting with somebody like that who's a well-known artist now, plus he's a well-known person because it was through his brother, and that's a general's brother, Martin Cahill. And Eddie's work's outstanding. I loved it, but I'd love to get talking to him about his work, but he's actually doing an exhibition. He's creating an exhibition here, I think sometime near New Year. And I've been invited to it, so I'll get talking to him properly. But it's just networking. Say, I love meeting new people and meeting people in that world, no, right? But so done that exhibition. So he actually exhibited my work in Kilmainham, but then he took that same exhibition to the Dundas Art Centre in Portlace, right? And that was my first time being in Portlace. I didn't actually near got in trouble. But I went swimming. I had stupid tattoos on my back, Ulster UFF tag, and it didn't go down. I actually didn't realise how it turned out like a lever.
You're like, I'll just take off my top here, not realising.
But I got talking to a fella. It's unbelievable because I got talking to a fella in the sauna and I was talking with him, told him why I was here, and the Irish Justice Minister, Charlie Flanagan, was opening the exhibition. So I actually got to meet the Irish Justice. I'm an ex-Loyalist Paramilitary. For me to be meeting, I didn't realise at the time. I was just like, that is what it is. Just went about and doing it. See, looking back, that's mad. That's like an ex-Loyalist prisoner meeting the Irish Justice Minister. That would have been a no go back in the day, you know what I mean? So it just shows you how much you're breaking borders, you're breaking barriers. I actually met the Sinn Féin junior minister at the Holocaust Memorial Day. So I did, and I shook his hand. I told him before we got to prison, I was like, I'm an ex-Loyalist prisoner, and he turned his back on me when we were getting the picture. But I says, if I could stand beside him, anybody should be able to stand beside anybody, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? We're better getting on and working together. See, if you don't believe or you don't agree with somebody, agree to disagree and just work away. No, everybody would be better working off, together. Like, how hard is it? How hard is it, know what I mean? To just fucking let people have their own beliefs and their own choice. See, at the end of the day, I believe there's only one person who has the right to judge us, and if that's right, at the end of the day, you'll be judged by him. No, we don't have a right to judge anybody. Know what I mean? Just if somebody's doing something you don't like or you don't agree, that's what they're doing. Know what I mean? It's how they get by. Like people don't understand. Like, say boys out selling gear, or boys out doing this or doing that. They're doing it to survive. No, they've no other way of making money. They don't know how other way to make money. They're doing what they have to do to feed their kids or to feed their family. No, they don't know any different. No, that's the way they've been brought up. That's unfortunately they've been landed in that situation. But people should actually realise and say, like, feel, what a life to have to live. You know what I mean? It's not nice, like. And then people will put them down and go, it's gone back, dirty, the thing, blah, blah, blah. Don't get me wrong, you do have an element there who'll use it where it's dodgy, you know what I mean? But that's like the ones higher up the rank. No, but like boys out in the street just trying to get by, who's anybody to judge how anybody makes a living?
Yeah.
Like, you get people slapping about prostitutes, this, not. At the end of the day, it's the oldest friggin' what is it? The career profession in the world. Listen, I just believe that if anybody has the right to do what they want, if they want to do it. And I never judge anybody for what to do. You know what I mean?
And do you think that there's a false sense of belonging when it comes to the paramilitary? Like for those young lads that you're talking about,
there's no point. It's finished. And they shouldn't even mirror because, in my point of view, like the troubles ended from 1998. Why is it dragging on to now? You know what I mean? There's no call for it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people make money out of it, blah, 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 and the way certain things is. To a certain extent, they used to have control over their community, and like they would have stopped like the heavy drugs coming in, crack, heroin, blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't have been unheard of. It would never happen. You'd get shot dead if you were caught selling it. So now it's openly being sold in the streets. So what are they actually doing? You know what I mean? They're not doing anything they're meant to be doing. So why be there? You know what I mean? But it's just the world we live in today. There's always people who will use that power and that thing to get what they want, or to try and like get money out of people and just rule by fear.
Yeah.
Rule by fear over their communities and stuff, which is sad, like, because especially the loyalist working class areas at the minute, we're the most unprivileged places in the world at the minute. I think it's just some of our areas are just, because it's just, we have nobody to talk for us. We don't have unionist politicians despise us because they're middle class, upper class, like DUP and stuff. So they look at us like scum. No, they look down on us. You know what I mean? We don't have anybody who can talk for our community. So we don't. So nobody can get our point across or talk from our point of view. We're actually very similar to the travelling community, where we're just treated as dirt. And just nobody respects us, nobody hangs us, any wonder. So you've got these people running about doing what they're doing in the name of loyalism. Well, it's got fuck all to do with loyalism. You know what I mean? But it makes people look at us, or the loyalist community, working class community, as just scumbags, to be honest. And that's the way I feel that we're looked at, and the way you're judged by other people, and where nobody really wants to work with you, nobody wants to deal with you, and we're just. The tables have turned. It used to be the Nazis community were tortured, which is wrong. Everybody should be equal, but it's got to the point now where we're the majority. We're the ones who there's no money, there's no funding, there's no nothing. There's nothing coming into our areas. They're just getting more and more deprived, and more crime, and more agents joining paramilitary groups when they don't even know what they're doing. Like the ceasefire 1998, why are we lads signing up to an organisation in 2023? You know what I mean? It was frigging years and years ago. It's done. Move on. That's past the past. Nothing more I hate more or turns my stomach. See, going into some people's houses and blah, 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 and they're wee kids, 4 or 5 years of age, and they haven't fucking Pope, fucking this and that. No, you're like, fuck me. Why would you want your children growing up what we went through? If anything, you would be teaching them the complete opposite. I would never in my life wish anybody to go through what I went through. So then, yes, I know what I mean. I get through it, I bang, but it was hard. It's not easy. Like, there's some people can't deal with jail to put their head away, they lose a plot. Plus, we went through my transplant. Sorry, I had the transplant January 17th of December. Got home on Christmas Eve. The only thing I wanted was a Christmas dinner. I was like, fuck, happy days getting a Christmas dinner. Fed up with hospital food, to be honest, it's stinking. Got a pain in my stomach. Didn't think anything of it. As soon as I pulled up outside the house, got a cramp, this real cramp in my stomach. Didn't think anything of it. Went to the toilet. It was wild, it was rough living like, but I just thought it was after the transplant, it was just the pains from the transplant. Let it go on. I went to bed actually, and I woke up at about 10, half 10, and all the pains just kept getting worse and worse. But me being me, left at 8 o'clock on Christmas morning. Couldn't deal with any more pain. I was lying down the sofa, my legs up against the wall, just trying to get a comfortable position where I wasn't in pain. Never felt pain like it in my life. I've been beat with bats, I've been beat with hammers, never been shot yet, but I've been bladdered.
Have you not?
No, not yet.
You've managed to dodge a bullet, literally.
A few times, for sake, if we missed by a couple of inches on there.
You're like the cat with 9 lives, aren't you?
No. But this is mad. So I got the 8 o'clock Christmas morning. I couldn't deal with any more pain. And apparently I had my pain threshold through the roof because I'm can't remember. There's hypo-responsive or something. I don't feel pain. I was like, fuck,
Okay.
do you not? I was like, fuck, I'll tell you what, I felt plenty of it. But it's your heart. I hate that pain more than anything, to be honest. But, so it was an agony. I phoned the hospital and they were like, get up here now. They're like, don't phone an ambulance, because if you phone an ambulance, they'll take you to A&E in Ulster and they'll not know what to do. You need to come to the city. I was like, who on earth do you phone on Christmas Day and put it on them to take you to... People will do it without wanting to do it. So I put a post on Facebook just saying, can anyone take me to the hospital? Like, now, I need to get to the hospital. And a big mate of mine, Tommy, he came around, picked me up, took me up to... When he seen me, he near said, he was like, look, what? I was in tears, I was bent over, I was in agony. I thought, I was really, really, really badly. And he says, right, come on. So I was actually more worried about his driving. I was like, just slow down, just get me your own pace. No, I'm all right. And then he was like, look at the pain you're in, look at the pain you're in. And I was like, don't worry about me, just get me there safely. You know what I mean? He's like a rally driver. I was like, he was scaring the life out of me. But I got up to the hospital and they were ready, just bang, in, boom, straight into the theatre. Cut open again. And the kidney took a blood clot, swole up and burst. Absolutely ruptured.
Goodness.
And the poison, amount of poison in my body, that I should have been dead. They told me if I had left it another half an hour, there's no way I would have survived. And took me, I think it was 8 hours, was in surgery or something like that for Christmas Day, getting cleaned out. And then I come around after surgery, it's like, where's my Christmas dinner? And they're like, Crystal. I was like, no way. It was amazing. But when we old man, John, and his wife, who I met through the Allison, such a nice couple. When I get home, they brought me up a Christmas dinner, so I had a Christmas dinner. We were on Christmas Day, like, but...
So were you put back on dialysis because the kidney? Okay.
Yeah. So that was me on dialysis, and then, like I say, I was meant to be going back in the Hyde Bank to teach your man, to see your man Robert. And then on the Thursday night, I got a phone call. I went to pick my wee lad up to bring back to see my brother. I'm not going to go into that, but it was a chance for my wee lad to see my brother. I mean, I hadn't seen him since like 6 months old, apart from like swim visits and stuff. So went to pick Bobby up. Next minute, I looked at my phone. I was on dialysis that day, but Friday was like a good day. After dialysis, I could do certain things, but I couldn't really push it. Any other day, I had to go straight to bed. I couldn't do anything. I had to go to bed, and it wasn't like you wanted to, you had to. So went and got Bobby and looked at my phone. There's 4 withheld numbers. No trying around. I was like, somebody's looking at me, that's not right. I thought I didn't know who it was. So phone my mum, I was like, I had 4 missed calls from a withheld number. Have you heard any? And she was like, get off your phone, City Hospital, they're trying to get you. So I got off the phone, and it rang straight away. I had COVID over Christmas, so it was. It says to me, "No, your one was like City Hospital with an offer here for you for a kidney, and it fits you. Can you get up here?" And I was like, all the emotion come back, and I was like, "Fuck, no." And then it's thoughts, the last transplant, everything was going through your head dead quick.
You'd already had a transplant
It
that
was
had
ruptured, blew up.
and then only a couple of weeks later you got...
No, it was a year later. That was
year
in
later,
That
okay.
was December.
See, you're such a fast talker, I can't keep up with you.
That was December 2021. Was
Okay.
when it ruptured, and then this was the 6th of January this year.
Okay,
So it was.
okay,
And
okay.
then, it was a year later, but the phone that says, and then it says to me, I take it everything's all right. And I says to your woman, I was like, I should have tested negative for COVID there on Wednesday. No, I feel great. And she went awful quiet, and I just knew something not right here. And she it felt like about 5 minutes, don't know how long it was, and she was like, Stephen, just go home, pack a bag, and be ready. I'll phone you back. She says, and I knew then something's not right. So I didn't think it was. I was like, something doesn't add up here. So anyway, got my wee lad, got ready, went back to the house, went up. I was waiting, trying to wait on that phone call. Fuck, it was a nightmare. But the phone call came through, and she was like, it's going ahead, get up here now. And I was like a Tasmanian devil. I was running about my house going mental, no, all the thoughts. Bursting, tears flying out of me, and then I was happy and then I was just mad, and I was so much emotion, and then all I could think about was the first transplant. I was like, fuck, is this going to happen again? I started wondering, is this going to lab? What the fuck? No, just all madness. And I tried to pack my suitcase, and it was some job. And anyway, but I thought I went down the stairs, got into the car, just went up actually dropped my wee lad off to his mum's, and then her boyfriend, who was a friend of mine at the time, took me up to the hospital, and then had the transplant on the Friday night. The surgeon came in to see me the next day. She after the transplant, I felt brilliant, even though I was cut the bit. You can see it, cut the bits, but I was like, I felt like I'd won the lottery. I felt absolutely amazing, though, and I knew, and that he came in. He says, "How do you feel?" And I says, "Absolutely amazing." And he must have knew then. I never had that feeling after the first transplant.
Okay.
So it did, and he says to me, he just knew. I refused morphine, painkillers. The only thing I would take was tramadol. So, I'm sorry, not tramadol, paracetamol. That's all I took.
What? After? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I said if anything goes wrong, I want to feel it go wrong. But I actually got sent home on the Monday. I had the operation on Friday, went home on the Monday and felt absolutely amazing. But like, I'm only building my body. Me and Stu were talking about earlier about maybe getting to the gym and stuff, because I'm only starting to feel muscle and all come back into my legs. Like, after my transplant, I put 7 kilo in the first week. You wouldn't even know you. I just look like skin and bone. I was a rag, no. So I'm only getting my body back. So it will take time to build up and build up. That's like people like Stu and all have been such a big influence. It's not such a big help in my life, because I literally couldn't like. If I walk around a shopping centre or something, no, I tire out dead easy. I'm wrecked. No, the fatigue kicks in and you're wrecked. No, your body, it's like you're having to rebuild your life. But I think I had the near die for me to actually change completely, because I was that headstrong, and that I think I had to go through what I had to go through to become a different person. Well, not really the different person, because there was always a good side of me. I would have done anything for anyone. Like, see if somebody phoned me at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd get out of my bed and I'd go to them. No, straight. Without even thinking about the question, I'd do anything for anyone, because it's right to give back and it's right to help people. It makes you feel good. See, when you do somebody a good turn, see the inner face and the feeling it gives, you can't beat it. No, it's better than anything, you know what I mean? And that's, no, after near dying twice, which I know of, like serious dying, no, I've learned to just appreciate life for what life is. Like, we're only here for a short time. Tomorrow's promised to no one, so you need to make the most of your life and do what. See if you're living in a life and you're not happy and you're just like a robot. See if you're not happy, make a change, find what makes you happy and do it. No, no, just find out what you're here for, your purpose, and live it. No, no.
I feel you've almost answered my 2 questions that I asked, but I'm going to ask them to you anyway. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give young people today?
Today, growing up in this world, it's very, very difficult. See, TV, media, everything's about drugs, sex, violence, as if it glorifies that life. And believe me, it might look attractive from looking on the outside. See, when you get involved in it, see people who you think are your mates and people you think you can trust, they will turn on you like that. When you see, if you find yourself in prison or something like that, you'll find out the only people sticks by you is by your family, if you're lucky. If you've got a family to stand by you, see, if you don't, you're screwed. So you are. So don't be getting drawn into that lifestyle, thinking it's a big, fancy lifestyle. You make loads of money and everything's brilliant. Yes, it looks good from the outside looking in. See, when you're involved in it, you need to be lucky every day of your life. The police only need to be lucky once, and that's your life over. So it's not worth even getting involved in, to be honest. There's better ways to live your life. There's better things you can do, which is positive and thing. Don't let negativity take over your life, basically.
Okay. And what is the meaning of life?
To make memories, to be as good a person as you can, to trust, just learn to treat people with respect. At the end of the day, we're all equal. We're here to live. We're all living on the same planet, the same. Or see if people want to be different religion, different thing. At the end of the day, that's our belief, that's our opinion. Let them believe it. You don't have to fight them or kill them just because they have different beliefs. We can all work together. I've learned with my background, when we used to fight each other, whenever we used to fight, we went through conflict the whole way through, you're better off working together than fighting. Those fighting gets you nowhere. You end up, see, when you have anger and hate in your heart, and you damage yourself more than anything. The only person you're hurting when you live with hurt and revenge and anger, it's killing you. It's not, you're not doing anybody else harm, you're doing yourself harm. Just learn to live life for what life is. Enjoy life for it. See all this being blinded by money and always chasing money. You'll never be happy, you know. Learn to live life for what life means, you know what I mean? Make most of it. So I'll say a quote. Just
I do.
Don't worry about the past, you can't change it. Don't worry about the future, you can't control it. Just live for the moment and make it as good as you can.
Stephen, I feel that we have another big long podcast in us, but for today, we will call it a day. Where can people find you?
Instagram, Stephen Greer 835 is my Instagram. I have a Facebook page, but my Facebook page is more like a personal sort of thing too. But I do put a lot of artwork up there. And then if you go on down to my social media, there's a link to my professional website at the top of each one, and that's where you'll get my art and be able to contact me direct for art if you're interested. And I have absolutely no doubt that I hope I'm invited to your exhibition in Dublin. Yes, I hope so, yeah. I love you, I love it.
Stephen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Too, and Stu, thank you for the cameo. It was short and sweet. Bye-bye.